Welcome to Oil and Whiskey, an Ironclad original. I am Josh Henning.
I'm Phil Gerber.
I'm Jeremy Gerber.
Welcome everybody back to Oil and Whiskey, an Ironclad original. Today we're going to be speaking with Jerry Zaiden of Camburg Racing. Jerry's a busy guy.
He's got a lot of Instagram pages.
He does.
Busy guy, builds a lot of cool stuff.
He does build a lot of cool stuff. All right, before we get to our interview with Jerry, it's time for a few listener questions. Are you guys ready?
I'm ready, dude.
Let's
we
do
talked
it.
earlier. I like these listener questions. Hit them.
Let's see what they bring. Can you talk about the retro-looking gauge set that you recently posted a picture of on Instagram? They look killer.
Yes, we can. So I like the fact that this came from Instagram because there was the one and only Instagram comment I saw on those gauges was somebody that said, looks too 80s GM for me, not into it. And I saw
That's
that
a compliment.
and I was like, dude, that is the greatest compliment anybody could have ever given. Because lo and behold, it is in a 87 Grand National that never had awesome gauges like that. So
I think they were thrown off because there's the AMX picture above it, so they may have thought those gauges
going
went in the AMX.
Yeah. Who would put those in an AMX? So anyway, that gauge package is it's something we've been working on for a long time. And we've got it now in probably 3 or 4 cars that are about to roll out, and a couple other shops. We've been sliding them out there. Something really neat that we've been pretty passionate about, put a ton of time and effort into, and I think fills a huge void in the market. They are configured in 3 different formats. So we've got the one that they're referencing is our 80s style GM graphic. That was kind of loosely inspired by like your late 80s
Knight Rider
vets.
Yeah,
but
C4, Knight Rider.
But we're doing them in a classic.
Both of those things.
Yeah, we're doing them in a classic configuration, so something that would be like a 60s, 70s era, like green line gauge. And then we've got kind of your modern pro touring. That's I guess I wouldn't call it pro touring. It's more like your just
modern sports car,
modern sports car esque
Racing with the slanted R.
Yes. But it is not just the gauge. That is a complete vehicle solution. So it has a panoramic dash digital display that is configured. I mean, it's infinitely configurable, but we've put all the cool stuff in there as kind of a standard user template. And it's basically a vehicle infotainment system.
This is obviously a teaser or a soft launch.
Little
you
bit
think
of a teaser.
It's a little bit more of a teaser. It's kind of the full rollout here, huh?
A hard launch, more information.
I think we'll
end
go
of summer.
Yes, I think we'll go further into it, but
So we wanted to get a couple of them in cars that we're building, test them, prove
Right.
them, find all the issues, make sure that it's good when
And
it
this
goes
is
to
the
market.
reason you should listen to the podcast, because this is like
Insider knowledge.
this is basically an upskirt.
it is. It is. Yeah. Hey, you glance at it, you saw it, you got a little bit of information.
little
on it.
taste.
Right. Next question. What current or upcoming build are you guys most excited about, excluding the Grand National?
I'm going to go with the new spec Nova. Got a badass 67 Nova original paint that we use as kind of our prototype for the spec Nova chassis. LT4 T56, 100% bolt-on chassis. We had chassis for these cars for a while. They were a pretty big ordeal to put in, cut the whole floor out, firewall, tubs, front inner structure. I feel like this is kind of our spec plus.
I don't think anybody knows that this actually exists
It's
right now.
on the website.
I know that it is. I just
And
don't.
it's been on Instagram. We've done a couple of posts on it.
I think SEMA will be the time when everybody realizes this is actually
That
a real
it's a
thing.
thing.
That's a good answer. It's wrong, but it's fine. We'll accept
I think
it.
it's a solid answer.
It is.
It's a cool car.
Great car.
Solved a lot of problems that were out there. It's one that we've kind of taken the spec chassis and gone a lot further with, have a lot of additional components to go with it that'll be coming down the pipeline.
Just the fact that you can put a full bolt-on chassis underneath that Nova is
pretty
an
cool.
accomplishment of itself, in and of itself.
Biggest thing is that it's not a 68 and later Nova.
Well, guess what? Since my
What do you
question,
got?
I haven't
What do you
answered
got?
what I'm most excited about is a second-gen Nova build that we have coming up at the Roadster Shop.
A complete build?
Well, Survivor. We've got a low mileage blue. What was it, 69?
You sold the car?
No, we're building.
Oh, we are.
Yeah, we are.
Oh, does Phil know?
You are not.
Hey, wait. Does Phil know?
No. If I had to pick, that would be what I'm most excited about, because it will happen one day.
Eventually.
You're going to get mono and be gone for like 3 weeks. We're going to build it while he's gone.
Or we're still waiting on Jason over at Gandred to put that motor package together, aren't we?
Jason fucked us.
I feel like
Jason
we mentioned
says-
it, right?
Jason says he wants to be there for the Roadster shop, and then when it's time for Jason to be there for the Roadster shop, he's nowhere to be found. I'm like, Jason,
Yeah.
hey. Hello?
Jason.
Are
you
On
there?
the side chance I paid Jason
Are you
off to
there?
go away.
632 is
Jason said,
is that what
Phil,
that is?
Phil
Six-
said, I'll just pay you for the motor if you don't give it to us. It's still
632 is what
632.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's
Dude, I
nowhere
know-
near
listen,
trashy enough for that car.
I know Mark will be there. Bowler will be there for the trans.
Oh, yeah.
But
I'm telling you, that second gen Nova build, we're
Okay.
not going to spill the beans. But because I can't answer that question,
I feel like,
honestly, I'm really super excited about the OBS build for Good Guys.
yeah, it's a cool one too.
I think that thing's
it's
going
gonna
to
be rad.
fucking badass. One thing is we have, I mean, no offense to Good Guys, we don't have anybody to make happy like customer wise. We can do whatever the fuck we want to do.
That's what I've been
Do
doing.
you know that?
Yeah, it's kind of like it feels surreal
Yeah,
that I'm like looking around waiting for somebody to tell me I can't do that.
right. And then if Mark or somebody from Good Guys is like, hey, why did you do that? I'm
Huh?
like, what?
Huh?
We talked
What?
about this. We had a conference call about it.
Dude,
It's fine.
It's cool. The bed, like all the mods to the bed. Ish.
that one's going to be a cool one because it's everything in my era, like
Yes.
unlimited budget, what I would have done. Like, yeah, I think it's going to be cool.
Yeah. It's gonna be
It's a great fucking chassis. I'm really excited to get that thing on the road and drive
gonna
it
be
and
very
beat it.
cool.
And, we got speakers in the bed for Phil's M&M.
Oh,
Can you rock Eminem in an OBS truck?
You've
Or you got to do
rocked-
like Run
you can.
DMC.
You've rocked M&M and everything else you drove.
so why not?
Well played. Well played. I'm just glad we're getting the marketing value to match up to the build costs on this. So pump it as much as you can everywhere you can.
What's your answer?
Man, I'm split. Phil nailed it. Like that's a good poll on the Nova because that's one of those that I'm really excited to drive, and it's got a lot of cool stuff going for it. And the
Badass
engine-
new wheel too.
Yeah, it's like there's
Pseudo new
so
wheel.
much going on with
Yeah.
that. It's new wheel design, full like core support, inner structure. Like it's such a user friendly package. Carbon fiber bolt on inner fender package, bolt on radius. It's just such a bolt together hot rod, and it looks so sick. We're like days away from firing it up. But with that being said,
And it's a cool customer that's going to let us drive it, beat on it,
Yeah.
put some miles on
yeah,
it.
great customer. So no disrespect to him, but that 79 Camaro,
No,
dude, the white 79 with T-tops, that's a car.
the cocaine train.
Yes,
Yeah.
I
Your name is Chastity. You're
yes,
white
dude, I'm
trash.
telling you, I dig
Can we
I
get a
dig
little bit of the
that car.
DJ? I want Phil to give us a little bit of the DJ.
the shit out of that. And that's
Who's up next on the dance floor?
I was going to say my only DJ voice is a strip club.
I'm telling you what,
Looking for-
that car's a total package.
Gentlemen, put your hands together.
It is one of our new spec. You said like spec plus. I believe that spec, that's one of our new spec second gen. Probably the first one we're going to put on the road other than our test mule.
Alan Johnson's got one coming together
And
pretty
it's-
fucking quick. We got a race to get ours done
It is
first.
it's a rad car, and that it also has our new gauge display in it. That's super awesome. LT5 6-speed, and it's got some pretty trick stuff going on with like the seats, the interior. It's going to be a rad car.
I think we need to do a promo video of that and use Whitey Morgan's Cocaine Train song for that. That's a perfect song for. Although it's
I've had
the
a-
right era of music, it needs to be a little bit more,
Little synthesizer.
yeah.
But
I've
we
had
got
almost like every customer that like I talk to regularly. It's like, dude, fucking late 70s Camaro. What the fuck? I'm like, yeah, it's like a pretty cool like LT5. No, dude, it fucking badass. Like for sure,
Yeah,
badass.
people like that car.
Yeah.
And it's gonna have a huge following.
And it's LT5, so we've got the LT579 Camaro spec versus it's going to be completed about the same time as the 67 LT4 Nova spec. So you got a little
Drag
weight
race.
difference. That's going to be
Cool
good.
ass
It's
cars.
going to be a good little showdown.
Hey, no wrong answers there.
There's wrong answers.
Nobody said
Not
any
that
wrong
we're
answers.
building.
Yeah, we don't. Those were all the right
No,
answers.
those are all the
but
right
it
answers.
could have been.
Now that you guys have done a handful of interviews so far for the podcast, what is the most surprising thing that a guest has said?
Dude, I'm going to say, honestly, I am going to say that everything that Paul Tuttle Sr. said.
Was surprising.
Because I thought that was such... I really enjoyed that, you know?
I came away from that
I thought he was
interview.
I thought he was a really neat guy, and I had a really fun time, and it was just so cool to hear his story. And I mean, I've always thought he was a neat dude, but like, you know, you hear like he can get a bad rap. I mean, anybody that's on TV can, but I just thought just so much respect for him. It was really cool. Everything that he said was just.
But when it was over, you felt yourself like you wanted to hang out more.
Yeah.
Like
I
you're
got a complete different takeaway from that than what I thought going into it. It was
100%.
polar opposite.
Yeah. Bigger fan and like
Yeah, huge
of
fan.
him as
just
a human.
like, as a person.
Yeah.
Yeah. Portray some different things on TV and
Yeah.
make some stuff up for the drama, but he was as real hardcore of a dude as you
Badass
could
dude.
possibly be.
If anybody hasn't listened, go check out the Paul Sr. episode. You'll probably come away with very similar views that we did. Completely different views, and you go in. Next question. Will there be a hoodie, hat, or T-shirt with the RSGN logo on it? The logo from the Grand National build.
Who asked that question?
This is just somebody. I don't have anybody that's referenced it.
Maybe.
It's possible, but I'm going to tell you.
We don't do a lot of
Listen, the Paisan,
individual vehicle
the
specific.
Paisan boys, Jimmy, texted me, and they already have a hoodie with the Paisans logo in Grand National format. Now, they
That's
also
not the same thing.
Yeah.
It's not
well, I feel like that may have came from him. No,
no, they were asking specifically about the dual turbo and the 8 logo.
It's a solid logo.
it's a good
yeah.
logo.
Wonder where that came from.
I fire a question
That's a
back
hard.
to
That's a hard maybe.
definitely maybe.
Yeah, definitely for sure. Maybe.
We don't do
should get a
a
t-shirt
lot
back here
of
for that.
we don't do a lot of individual car specific build.
You know what I think that
show-
needs to be.
shirts
That's I was
or-
going to ask that back to all the listeners, viewers. Do you
That-
want to see more car related apparel? Do you like the logo related apparel? We're
I've got
always
an
on
idea.
on the
well,
fence.
That's actually a very good.
It's a solid question because
What-
we've gone back and forth. Do we make a car shirt? But then most of them seem a little bit too cheesy,
Me and
so
Jeremy
we pump
like-
the brakes.
When you're
like
talking
tank
about
tops.
We're
So-
not going to make tank tops.
whoa, when you're talking about cheesy though, what better palette to put the Grand National logo on than a thin, like crappy, non-hooded, like Champion faded black sweatshirt. Think about it.
Yeah, PRI.
Picture it.
I'm sorry.
Just a low quality sweatshirt.
Moving on. Well, this is interesting. I'm reading ahead now. I think this
Well,
was
don't read
this was
ahead.
a doctored question. Do you guys watch
Oh.
Formula One? Why or why not?
I feel like you added this one.
That's a total.
I did not add it.
question.
I do watch Formula One. I watch it on television. However,
oh, look at you.
you two guys, what did you
Yeah.
just come back
well,
from?
It's a nice thing that we're on video for the first time because you may notice that Phil and I have a bit of a suntan going on here. And the reason being is because you get a suntan when you are watching Formula One in person in Miami
Could have answered the question so
at
much simpler.
Formula One. So, yeah, I love Formula One. I'm not
Huge fan, huh?
a huge
Seen
fan.
a lot of them.
It's hard to watch it.
not-
It's always on at weird
listen,
hours.
Followed them.
I'm not
followed
in-
them for a long time and
No.
known exactly what the drivers are and who they
Why
do.
don't you shut the
Right.
fuck
Is
up?
there a
You're
way to
big into
mute
it.
your
Why don't
microphone?
you shut the fuck up and let me just talk for a minute?
Who
You
won?
just sound like a complete asshole. Max Verstappen won.
Mhm.
You're talking to me
a
about this
little-
like it's sports,
I'm-
okay?
okay.
Like this is a men's
I
like a
apologize.
college basketball game.
I'm still a little hurt.
Yeah,
and
you
it's
should be,
coming through.
because you didn't get to come.
I didn't.
Yeah. I hope
Yeah.
your weekend sucked.
It did.
Okay, because ours was awesome.
Throttle
Yeah.
down.
I enjoy Formula One. I'm not an avid fan, but I like watching I love the Netflix series on it. I just like watching anything that is at the absolute top of like its performance. You know, when you look at Formula One, it's the absolute upper echelon of just badassery. You know, the level that those guys perform at, it's just bitching.
Sounds amazing. Phil, what about you?
Hey,
Solid cutoff.
the best part about being on video is everybody's.
I want to
ability
see you whoop
to
his
see me
ass
kick
on
the
video.
shit out of you.
No, you got to have fun. I can
Hey, what did
say
you do
when it's
this
done.
weekend? What did you do this
Not
weekend?
watch Formula One. I did watch it on television, but that's quite different than seeing it in Miami.
Oh, it's so different.
Yeah, it's fine.
Dude, you should see
Oh,
what it's
I-
like to hear it and feel it.
I hate you.
Yeah. So thanks to a great customer of ours.
Yeah, we got
Yeah.
to go down to Miami.
Super thanks. Lots of things headed your way, Scott.
Fortunately,
Josh
for,
maybe a
yeah.
little bit butthurt. Luckily, Josh is in the chassis shop.
Yeah, fortunately,
And all
for
of Scott's
Scott,
chassis are done and into the car build shop,
Yeah.
so they have nothing to
Right.
worry about.
Yep, that
But-
lies solely on me. So Scott, I got you taken care of. We're all good.
So we got to go down to Miami for the Formula One race. Had awesome seats. Couple rows back on the start finish line. It was hot as shit. It's 96 degrees.
Ooh.
Little warm down in Miami, but incredible experience seeing all those cars. I think just the start, watching them all take off, was probably one of the coolest things I've seen.
Watching
In
him
the
take off and
motorsports world.
watching him pit. I mean, anytime you see a pass is epic, but the start, the pit is you
Yeah.
blink your eye.
4
and
tires
you
and
miss
fuel
it.
in 2.5 seconds.
That was super cool too. I was watching it on the couch.
What did
And I
it
was
look
like-
like on TV
It
compared?
was
like,
exactly like 65 inches of like, oh man, that's fucking badass. Yeah.
does it vibrate your whole chest?
All right, that'll
Like, do you
do it
feel
for
this-
questions.
Hey,
Next,
does your hair stand up like on your arms when you're watching it at home?
your hair's fixing to stand up on your arms.
But we'll say that Formula One or the Netflix series is pretty awesome. Seeing all the
it's
behind the scenes,
An amazing
that got
series.
me hooked on it pretty hard. It is hard to watch a lot of the races because they're always at like weird times. You gotta set the DVR, but
I do the DVR.
Dude, I will
well
tell
worth
you,
it.
I will say this though. The only thing cooler than that is seeing it in person. Dude, it's something, honestly, you've
Dude,
got to
you-
experience.
You're a fucking asshole. You honestly are an asshole.
It's a once in a lifetime experience, dude.
yeah,
It's-
once in a lifetime. Yeah.
Your lifetime's like, dude, it's
I was waiting for that.
it's closed. And I mean, it's limited at this point. But
All
there's,
right.
hey, there's always next year.
That'll do it for the questions. Next up, Jerry Zaiden. Jerry Zaiden is an off-road racer and the president and co-founder of Camburg Racing. A leader in off-road suspension technology, Camburg designs, builds, and races with their own components on their new KINETIK race trucks, which we all want to learn more about for sure. You can learn more about Jerry's work at camburg.com or on Instagram at Jerry Zaiden and on YouTube at Camburg Racing. Jerry Zaiden, welcome to Oil and Whiskey.
Thank you, guys.
Welcome, man.
So what's been going on? I saw you posted a video earlier of like kind of in similar state as we are. We're using the parking lot for shipping and receiving and pallets and everything going on.
Yeah, I'm in this beautiful place called Huntington Beach, California, and there's no industrial space available at all.
Well, it's cheap out there, right? It's affordable to grab some extra space, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, you could buy a building about $500 a square foot right now. Rent's about $2 to $3 a square foot. It's a beautiful place.
Yeah, you got to make use of every inch of that parking lot then.
Yeah, I'm gonna add pallet racks to the parking lot.
Good thinking.
No, it's been crazy busy, guys. Doing a lot of overseas work, military work. Very blessed with a bunch of great opportunities, which leads me to being able to build some cool toys. And but yeah, business wise, we're 25 years in business now, and great employees, great vibe going on, and just really just blessed with it all. It's awesome.
Well, tell those that don't know, kind of where the start came from. You're saying 25 years. So where did it all get started? That's what we like to try to start with, the origin stories of all of our guests, and everybody's kind of interested in what it takes to get where you're at now.
In a nutshell, to get here, basically work for free for many, many years, and hopefully one day it'll pay off. So my business partner and I, we went to junior high and high school together. And, I'm just a surfer kid from Huntington Beach. And, he's like a gearhead / surfer. And we both basically had the common interests of trucks and lifting trucks and tricking them out on a high performance basis. So like we never liked the big lifted giant tire stuff. It was more of the performance. So we would go out to, the SCORE Fireworks 250 race. And if you don't know who SCORE is the racing organization that owns the Baja 500 and the Baja 1000. They used to do this race around 4th of July called the Fireworks 250. And that's in our local desert here in Barstow, California. And I mean, to us, that was like, it's a once a year event. And we'd go camp out in that desert, melt all day watching awesome off-road vehicles zip by you, right? So a guy like a Robbie Gordon was a kid at the time, Rob McCachran, all those guys, like teenagers to early 20s. And it's like the most mesmerizing thing when you see 800 horsepower hauling ass through 3 to 5 foot holes in the desert, just flying by you at 100 plus miles an hour. It just bites you, and you got to be part of it. So, we started making parts for our trucks and cutting our teeth in other shops. Like I worked at Rod Miller Motorsport. Jason worked at a cool hot rod shop called BMP Fabrication, where they did Mike Ness from Social Distortion's old Pontiacs and a bunch of cool hot rods and stuff. And, one thing led to the other, and we liked tricking out our trucks and learning how to weld. My first welding machine was a Miller stick welder, and I thought it was the coolest thing, like building bumpers with the stick welder. Put myself through welding school at the local community college, took blueprint reading and writing, just did all the stuff to gain knowledge, working for free in shops and all that stuff. And one day it's like, hey, let's get a lease on this building for 6 months, not a 1 year lease, not a 5 year lease, but a 6 month, like, okay, we got the reserves in the bank to cover the rent for 6 months. Let's do this one Bronco project. And the Bronco never got done because we got really busy. We wound up buying the guy out of the Bronco to not have to do the Bronco, which it was a mutual cool thing. Our buddy Kevin Jones, he still comes out and helps us at the races and stuff. But it was like, from day one, kind of like you guys are embracing technology with this awesome podcast. Back then in 1997, most companies didn't have a website. They didn't go on the message boards and kind of create community with fans or I guess enthusiasts like ourselves. And we just did that from day one, and it's just always grown. Every year it's growing, recession, no recession, whatever, it just keeps going. And now we just have bigger, better opportunities with technology and engineers, machining, and just like you guys,
That's awesome, man. Yeah, I wasn't real familiar with your history. I just know you guys from, like, as soon as we started playing in the off-road world, or as soon as my interest started kind of steering over into that world. I mean, dude, it's like Camburg or the guys, the reputation, the image, everything. That's like, you guys got it going on, which is, for guys like us, our industries don't really cross over much, even though they're very similar. But you'd probably be surprised how many like hot rod shops have no idea, know nothing about like the off-road stuff. But man, it was seeing your work, your products, super inspirational for us. And you guys obviously did it right. It's no secret how you got to the top, but yeah, from the outside looking in, man, you guys fucking rock. I think I speak for all of us on that.
I really appreciate hearing that because, every year I go to SEMA, you walk around, and there's been a few times when I'm like, whip out the phone, snap a few pictures and a video. I don't even know what booth I'm walking by. I'm always like going from one end of that show to the other in a meeting or signing something, doing whatever. And a few years in a row, someone's like, oh, that's a Roadster shop built. And so it's like, who are these guys? Check them out. Oh, they follow us on Instagram, follow back. Like, these guys are the most badass shit. And I mean, cantilever shocks and suspension on Camaros and all this cool stuff. And I don't know if you know this, but one of our friends, Alex Figgy, I don't know if that name rings a bell to you guys.
Yeah, we built a 70 Chevelle for him. He told me he went to drive for you guys for a while.
Yeah,
back,
so
years ago.
Yeah, he was driving with us, and he was telling me all about his Chevelle. I'm like, oh, that's badass, and like, checking that car out. Which for me, like, I don't know, like, having a cool hot rod's like definitely on the on the bucket list. But when every day of my life is a truck, it's like, what do you do? And you can't just like, usually, I mean, you can go to you guys and buy one, but around here, it's like, where do you go to even get one where it's not a 2-3 year project, right?
Yep.
And I'm always mesmerized and just fall in love with the work you guys do. And I mean, we have Chip Foose is like, I can walk to a shop from my shop. I'm like in the hub in Huntington Beach here where everyone's all around each other. And I was at Jesse James's house last year, and he's got your chassis in there on a cool build. And everywhere you go, there's a roadster shop, something sitting somewhere cool, right? And every now and then, you go to the local Cars and Coffee and you check out the guys. It's always over the top stuff, right? The really legit stuff. And it's like, oh, it's a roadster shop chassis. Oh, go figure, right? So it's just cool.
That's wicked, man. That's awesome to hear. I wish we could say the same here, but we're in the Midwest, and unfortunately, when you see a truck out this way, you don't want to have your stuff on it, man. I wouldn't be giving you a compliment if it did,
What's so tell us a little bit about the new project. You got a chassis there. I think you just got it like last week or so.
Just showed up. It's like Christmas early, right? Like it's the excitement level's high, because like I said, every day, I mean, I got trophy trucks and all this cool stuff in the shop. And now it's like this breath of fresh air, getting to work on a cool project. And, I'm talking to people. There's all kinds of guys out here. And, it just comes down to like, you guys are doing it more modern and very thought out. Kind of reminds me of kind of how we do things here, embracing technology and just trying to push the envelope. So I picked up a 1968 C10, and coincidentally, it was my friend selling it. It just has like the perfect look. And I really way overpaid for this thing, but it looks badass. And I'm like getting into it. I'm like, oh, I'm going to drop an engine, go buy that suspension kit, start adding it all up. And I'm like, why am I wasting my time? Like, I'm cutting the back off or the front. Screw it. Just get a chassis. And so I gave you guys a call and got educated. And what fits my needs the best was the fast track chassis, because I want to, I'm not going to ever be going straight in that thing. It's going to be sideways or going fast or something. But I'm going to keep the ride height a little higher. I'm not looking for that airbag truck. I want the true performance, keep the bed and all that, kind of a sleeper. And I just sent you guys a rear end, and let's put that in there, which also led to we're engineering this whole Pro Touring hub kit, which will have all 3 bolt patterns and 1 full floating hub deal. And I just want to have, we do housings and all kinds of Jeeps and hot rods and stuff. I just want to have a complete solution for these vehicles. And so that's the main thing behind building something badass. And it's just going to be fun. And everywhere I go, like the people you meet who own, all these trucks or hot rods, whatever, they're just all like just rad dudes, Well,
that's cool to find that newfound excitement or that new spark, I'm sure you love what you do every day, but you've also been doing it for quite some time. You know all the same people, you go to the same shows, you go to the same races, you go to the same thing, and it's a business there. It's cool to kind of still be in the industry, but get a little bit of a taste of something else and get all excited and learning new things.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think the biggest thing is like just meeting people and seeing like all these fresh builds, whether it's, the PCH cruise guys out here, they do the quarantine cruise. A couple of my good buddies involved there, a bunch of Lucas Oil dudes, now moved on, they're doing their own stuff. But like, Kevin Hart showing up, bringing some badass vehicles. There's, I don't even know the guys' names, but just all these people that show up with just these over the top builds. And some of them are not over the top, but the linkages they're making and some of their ingenuity they're coming up with in their garage, like going back to basics with like, you know, a manual mill and lathe and a hacksaw and stuff they're coming up with. There's some smart people out there doing some cool stuff.
Yeah, I'm always impressed by that. I like when I'm, you know, scouring Instagram and you stumble across something that, you know, it's not like super professional, but it's definitely not homemade. It's always cool to see what guys with some skill produce at home.
Right.
You know, it's badass.
Just get inspired by solving their problems and just doing shit a different way and can help you grow, keep you excited, keep you interested in it.
Yeah, for sure.
I've got a quick question for you since you touched on it. We get a lot of customers ask about the full floating rear end and always try to explain it to them. Since you're the guy when it comes to that, can you kind of give the big high-level explanation of what the full floating rear hub is and reasons for putting it in?
Yeah, I mean, to me, it's about torque, right? Like people don't understand, like ring and pinions usually blow up because the mesh of the gear's wrong. And you can have a perfectly good meshed gear, but with all that torque, it separates and flexes. And that's why, you know, high quality housings, thicker materials, stronger materials on the housing are so important. But then you get out to the hubs and guys are like, yeah, man, I got 1400 horsepower twin turbo engine and I have a single bearing flanged axle held on by a 316 stamped out plate. And you're like, you ever see those axles go flying out of rear ends? It's why, right? NASCAR, most forms of roundy round racing, they're all on a spindle with the two bearings and a crush sleeve and a heavy duty lock nut. And it's there for a reason. And it's because you don't want that whole axle connected to the hub, connected to your wheel and tire blowing by you in turn. And when that stuff gets side loaded, it just sees massive loads. So in a nutshell, full floating means the axle splined on both ends and it just kind of floats in between the hub and the diff. There's now this new thing that people are calling floating rear ends, and they're basically unit bearings. So they'll take like a rear Corvette outer piece, and instead of the CV, they broach it and do their thing. And it's cool. Like it's good for a certain amount of power and a certain type of abuse. We're just used to like big tires and high horsepower on and off the ground all day. But at the same time, even like in NASCAR, you know, they got the same thing going on. It's like everyone's probably heard of that Grand National setup where they're 2.5-inch bearings. So it spreads the loads, more efficient. But in a nutshell, you know, a Chevy 2500 or a Ford Super Duty, the rear ends in those are full floating rear ends, just big heavy duty cast iron parts. We're just basically taking 2-inch bearings, going widespread to spread the load. Doing a crush sleeve between the bearings, so we torque them down to like 400, and the bearings run freely when they heat up or cool off. Everything's just precise, and it's just a different level of doing things, right? Like, I mean, you guys do like a full chassis, right? I mean, do you need a full chassis? Well, kind of, right? If you want to perform at that level. And so I just kind of look at it as like, you know, are you going to run in flip-flops or are you going to run in running shoes?
Yep.
Right. So there's just what level do you want to play at, you know?
Yeah, I always looked at it on the big truck stuff, like the trophy trucks and all the off-road. I figured it was more like impact and load. I mean, when you got a 40-inch tire and you're barreling through the desert, you know, visually, if you look at, you're just levering off of a bearing if it's not, you know, a floating axle. So I'd imagine just shearing axles and bearings in the desert's got to be, I mean, brutal if you're not on a hollow floating spindle.
For sure. And that's the thing in the desert is, you know, we have 3 different spindle sizes. You know, we have the 2 1/4, which is like our pre-runner stuff. Then we go 2 1/2, which is like pretty much the standard for the last 30 years. But trophy trucks actually run in a 3 1/4-inch bearing, where each bearing is about $150 per bearing. And the axles are 36 spline, but not like a 31 splines 1.5 inch. I'm sorry, 35 splines 1.5 inch, and 40 spline axles, which people know about. Those are 1 3/4 inch. The trophy truck 36 splines, like a big core spline, but it's the roundness of a monster can, if you can imagine how big that is.
Damn.
And so they're 2 3/8 inch material. And so when you look at that and they're hot, you know, gun drilled out, so they're hollow, they're actually lighter than a solid 40-inch or 40 spline axle. But it's just the size and just the girth of it. we literally don't have problems with trophy truck axles. It's like what's in a top fuel drag car, same size axle. Just the amount of load that those things are under when you're launching. And it's the same thing. A trophy truck, every bump you hit is like a launch. Imagine like when you're off the ground, you know, these engines are producing over 1,000 pounds of torque now, these big blocks, and they're just on and off the ground for 1,000 miles. So if you imagine that, right? So in the hot rod thing, we're going to do a 35 spline because that's the size of the lockers. So that lets us go down to a 2-inch bearing, but a 2-inch bearing's the front of most trophy trucks. So, you know, from an impact, it's a widespread 2-inch. But from a hot rod standpoint, you know, the tires are about up to 32 inches in diameter at the biggest.
Yeah, at the largest you'll see.
You know, most guys are probably 28 to 30 inch tires, and you know they're not hooking up the same way as the trophy trucks are, but there's definitely a lot of load with these guys drifting and launching and side loads and everything. So I think it's going to be pretty cool.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. How much of that, like your product development and just your products in general, how much of that derives from your racing experience? I mean, the torture tests in the desert, the shit you guys must break, the stuff you guys must learn. I mean, that's got to be quite the competitive advantage for you guys, what high level you're at in the racing scene and being a manufacturer.
Oh, definitely. I mean, materials and learning about materials, like why we use so much chromoly and, you know, as a material, or certain type of stainless steel, why we use certain kind of bolts, you know, all NAS bolts in all of our high-end stuff. It makes a huge difference, right? Tolerances, materials, heat treating. These are all big things in what we do. And we learn a lot from trial and error. I mean, if we can stop a 6,000 pound to 7,000 pound trophy truck on a dime, what we learn in brakes is it's not just, you know, a caliper, a pad, a rotor, but it's the master sizes, the ratio of the pedal, the lines you're using. It's all the fine detail everyone overlooks, right?
Sure.
These things make a big difference in performance, especially like on what you guys are doing. You know, master cylinders and pedal effort, what you got to push into it, or if they're running Hydro Boost or something, it's boosted, so it's not as critical. But the efficiencies of that or the modulation of that can make a huge difference in a guy autocrossing his vehicle. I mean, there's a lot of turns there, and if you shave off a half a second in autocrossing, that's huge. And for us in off-road, if we shave off a half a second in thousands of turns we make in a desert race, that's huge at the end of the day.
That's crazy. You're talking about pre-runners, you're talking about trophy trucks. In our industry, I mean, there's obviously some guys that are in the know, but as a whole, talking, you know, generally, that is an ambiguous term as, say, pro touring, you know? So we get customers, especially when we're doing the four-wheel drive stuff.
I feel like everything's a pre-runner.
Yeah, it's
well,
like
you put a Rancho 2-inch lift kit on your F-150 and you got a pre-runner.
Pre-runner. Or if you're doing anything besides that, it's like, I'm building a full-out trophy truck. Like, well, careful. Like, there's
easy.
So explain to the listeners that, I mean, we've got people from all walks of life, all different types of hobbies. So for pre-runner, trophy truck, the classes that are in there. I mean, how many classes you race? Give us, like, if we didn't know anything, give us a little bit of explanation there.
So let's start with, I raced the Mint 400 with Jay Leno a couple years ago. We won that race in a stock Toyota Tacoma. But now imagine taking that stock Tacoma and you're doing billet upper control arms, Fox coilovers, Fox bypass shocks, underslung rear leaf springs in the back. So it's got double the wheel travel of a stock Tacoma. And you get that thing out on the race course and you're like moving along at 20 miles an hour thinking, man, this thing's working so good right now, because you're in the stock Tacoma going 20. But at the same time, I get Mike Swears, who is the head engineer over at Toyota, saying, so how fast would you be going here if you're in your trophy truck? And I'm like, about 100. He goes, wait, what? And I'm like, yeah, about 100. And he's like, how? And I'm like, it's just what they do. It's like, imagine drag racing a 6-cylinder Ford Mustang, and now imagine drag racing a top fuel dragster. Right? They both have 4 wheels and brakes, and they both can launch, but it's just the level at what you do it at. So trophy trucks, F1 cars, offshore boats, top fuel dragsters, they're all at the pinnacle of what they do. Like there's nothing that does it better in that element than what these things do. And now in like the trophy truck world, 4-wheel drive, like 4-wheel drive really hasn't been a thing. Now we're engineering a 4-wheel drive truck that's all X-Track, transmission, transfer case, gears in the portals, front diff. It's like $300,000 for just those parts. And that stuff comes out of England. And if you know X-Track, that's what's in like all the world rally cars and all that F1 and all those gearboxes and stuff. So it's the very best in the world. And that's just the driveline. That's not even the engine of that truck. Then you take a real pre-runner, and a real pre-runner would basically, at the high-end level, basically be a trophy truck with a metal cab on it that's close to what the trophy truck is. And they're, in some cases, more expensive because they're leather interior and air conditioning and all that stuff. But generally, I think kind of equating it, to the hot rod crowd would be, you have a stock C10 truck, you put the term LS engine, right? Everyone calls LT engines LS engines. I can't wait to have fun memeing that out. But, you put a 6-liter cast iron block engine in your C10 and you're like, oh, it's got an LS engine and it's a pro touring truck and it's lowered, versus your whole chassis with just this badass custom built 440 cubic inch, real engine in it, right? Whole different ballgame. It's kind of like we always tell customers and come, what should I do? It's like, well, what can you afford to do? What do you want to do? Like, you got to match all that together. And a lot of times what their expectation is, they think they're going to get it for like $5,000. And it's like, well, that's just a starting point, right? But the term pre-runner is technically, I'm going to go drive this vehicle before I race the race course, so I'm pre-running it. That term's pretty loose, just like probably pro touring in your world is pretty loose. Go buy a Razor from Polaris and they work great out of the box. They go fast. They put a smile on your face. They work well. In the truck world, like, you're going to spend a couple $100,000 to perform like a Razor, but it's way more comfortable with air conditioning and a radio and a cooler in the back and all the other cool stuff. So,
have you guys gotten into any of the UTV parts?
We built some parts, but we're honestly so busy with all the truck stuff, it's hard to cross into that market. And there's a lot of people, as you guys know, there's TIG welding and then there's TIG welding. There's MIG welding and then there's MIG welding. So, there's 30 dudes out there making A-arms. They'll sell a, upper and lower A-arm kit for a Razor for $1,500. And, just to laser cut the stuff out, it's $1,200.
Yeah, we've looked at a lot of those and wondered how you're able to sell it and stay in business at those prices.
Exactly.
It's quality. You pay for what you get, I guess.
Yeah, we've actually, me and Phil have had that conversation. I've been looking at like some billet links, for some of those razors. I'm like, dude, I know what we pay for just fucking materials. Like, that's what the materials cost. So I don't know if it's like how the fuck these guys are selling some of this stuff, but some of it's just, it's cheap. I guess it probably works that way.
Or it doesn't. Yeah. It doesn't work.
Yeah, it's, there's some great companies out there, and obviously they charge what they charge, and that it's honestly fair. When people are like, yeah, how much is that fast track chassis? You kind of give them an idea, and they're like, wait, what? And I'm like, yeah, but look how much time it saved me, and look what my end result's going to be. They just don't get it. It's over their head, right? Like, there's guys that'll, I don't know, they want to buy a truck to tow their trailer, and they're just trying to force their light duty truck to do it. And then there's the guy that just goes out and buys a diesel, 2,500 or bigger to do it correctly. You can't force it, but not everyone can afford it, but everyone sees the pinnacle and wants to be at that pinnacle.
For sure, man. Well, so just to help us justify our pricing, what is a KINETIK full-blown trophy truck, like turnkey, I'm driving it out the door? What does one of those bad boys cost?
So like the KINETIK fully TIG welded whammy jammy trophy truck spec, meaning the stock LS3 tagged engine's 400 grand. And then they go up from there, like typically 500-600 for a 2-wheel drive with the big boy Dugan engine in it. And the all-wheel drive trucks are about $1 million.
What does it cost for me to just drive one for a weekend? Just fuck around.
You could have just given him that chassis. He'd probably let you.
I mean, if you think about it, it's about 50 grand just to prep the truck to go about, well, it doesn't 500 to 1,000 miles. Like, you know, you go to one race, you're prepping the truck regardless. So think about a Baja 500 or a Vegas to Reno race is about 500 miles and about 50 grand in prep.
That makes sense, man. I could see the workload for sure.
Yeah.
Every time I watch it, they just look like it's the most fun you can have on 4 wheels. Just do anything, go over anything, jump anything, 120 miles an hour the whole time.
Yeah, it's definitely mind blowing. Like, you know, if all the stars and moons align, you definitely guys need to come out and go for a ride. I think you'll be blown away on like what they do. It's shocking. It's like, I don't know, I'm sure most people could relate to a boat, but imagine being in a boat when it's windy and crappy and bouncing everything all over the place, but you're going through that chop at 120 miles an hour and you don't feel it. It's just works.
I'd be a great fucking daily driver. Imagine the commute in the morning, because you're never stopped for traffic.
Yeah.
You can go anywhere.
Well, and you guys have roads, right? Where like the highway goes through and then there's grass in the middle and on the side.
Oh, yeah.
I think about, dude, every time I see one of those, I think about jumping it and like gapping the road. You know?
Yes.
That's why I'm not allowed to have like a pre-runner, because
Yep.
that's the shit I'd be doing.
On those trophy trucks, are there any to run in the trophy truck class? Is there any, you know, requirements or specs it has to be to, or is it kind of wide open, run what you brung type thing?
Yeah, I mean, there's no rules other than the safety stuff. So, you know, you have to have all the right stuff safety wise for tech and a really big wallet.
I can imagine.
So that would be the biggest prerequisite. Yeah, there's some rich dudes out there that are having fun and they're just getting in everyone's way with a big smile on their face. They're pretty easy to pass. And then there's a lot of talent out there. There's a lot of really good drivers. You know, it's one of those things like, I mean, everyone can relate to road racing, but imagine road racing where there's like an either or line everywhere with a jump or a tunnel or I don't know, like a loop-de-loop to go through or something crazy that you make it through.
It's like a video game.
Exactly. That game MotorStorm comes to mind.
So how important is it in your world, the driver versus the equipment?
Honestly, they both are equally as important, because if a good driver has bad equipment, he's not finishing the race. And if good equipment doesn't have a good driver, he's not winning the race. And in our sport, it's like running a marathon. So there's really, really fast people for a little bit. And then there's really fast people who get to the finish line all the time. And so there's a handful of guys who have everything they need, millions of dollars, the talent to drive, and the team to prep. And that's why you see a few of the same people always up front. There's the opportunity guys. There's a couple guys who are really good at finishing races well, like they know how to pace themselves. They don't have the big deep pockets, and they do really well. They're always in the top 10. And when I say top 10, I'm talking at a real race with 50, 60 trucks in the class, like a big race. They'll always be in that top 10. They just know how to get there. And there's a few guys that are always winning, and it's because they have the right equipment and they have the team behind them.
I want to hear some sketchy stories about, Baja. There's got to be some stories.
What's the percentage of like driver skill versus balls when you're doing something like that? Because
that's the thing.
It looks like some of it's just like, dude, just fucking put your foot in it. Like that's the only way you're getting through that.
Yeah, I mean, in some cases that is true. I mean, there's some guys out there. They're always sending it hard in qualifying, and they're always braking, crashing, rolling. Obviously, the skill's not there 100%. I mean, just even at the last race, there was one of the guys, he has a brand new trophy truck, and he has a Joe Gibbs racing engine in it. You know, it's like a $150,000 engine. He just weeds it off the jump, lands, and then the next thing you know, he's shooting over the berm, rolling over the truck. And this is a guy who's been doing it for a long time, but it's kind of his MO. And I wouldn't call it reckless. I just call it like he's just sending it all the time, right? He didn't even make it to the race because he crashed out in qualifying. And if you guys Google these videos, there's guys like a Parker, like a guy like Harley Lettner, right? Full send, but also a terrific driver. He's one of the most exciting guys to watch. And he's always just kind of there. And now he's getting a new truck. And when he gets that new truck, I think you're going to see this guy up front with the big dogs. And it's going to be exciting to see, because his problem's been like blowing up transmissions and third members and stuff like that, because he's just hard on equipment. But once they get that equipment figured out for him, he's going to be one of those guys that does pedal to the metal full send, but he also has the skill to back it up.
So with Jesse James going like nosing in and going end over end over end, is that driver error or car error? And I'm just doing that so I could talk a little shit.
You want to talk?
Yeah.
Honestly, it happens, you know. I've rolled our truck at like 5 miles an hour sliding sideways and the engine stalled and you can't counter steer. Just there's nothing you can do. In his case, I think he just hit the wrong bump the perfect way to roll him over.
Yeah.
And so these trucks have so much wheel travel that when you land in a hole a certain way, it'll just like buck and spring out of that hole. I think there's, you know, he hadn't been driving for a while. The shock setup is kind of from back in the day. It's probably not the newest shock setup. But an example of, because that was at the Mint 400, Jesse did that. But I'll give you an example of Cameron Steele. He was at the Mint 400 on the practice lap, and there's a video of it. You guys could go find it on YouTube. But he just goes off the jump, not at race speed, but lands perfectly into the hole and just kind of like bloops right out of it and lands right on the bumper onto the roof. You know, it's like you couldn't time it more perfect. And like 1% either way wouldn't have crashed the truck, but it just happens.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the tricky thing when you got four wheels and a cage. It's not like a dirt bike or a four-wheel, you know, ATV where you can like kick a leg out or
a scooter.
lean or manipulate. I mean, we screw around with some sand car stuff and razors and do a little dooning. So I know the feeling like when you jump and you're sending it and that sucker's coming in like nose dive. I mean, there's nothing you can do. You are just along for the ride at that point.
Yeah, definitely. And like I said, there's and the Mint 400's like, I wouldn't even call it like a fun race in the sense, I mean, all the races are fun, don't get me wrong. Man, that race is so brutal. That whole area they race in is so used up and beat up. And that's what makes it, in my opinion, one of the hardest races. And it's, you know, back to that pace, right? Like if you could pace yourself and keep your equipment alive, that's a huge advantage, especially on that kind of course. Because when you go down to Baja, there's a lot of like, you know, the roads the locals go to and from work on. They're just dirt roads through the desert and they're flat. There's a lot of that down in Baja. There's a few sections that are pretty rough, but there's a lot of like just technical, fast, twisty roads. But when you're at that Mint 400, it's like 80% of it's just chewed up. And I think, unfortunately for Jesse, I was excited to see him out there, but I think he just landed in the wrong hole the wrong way. It'll just buck you over.
Yeah.
How many races do y'all do a year?
The typical season, Best in the Desert 6, Scores 4, and then there's a few smaller series that have about 5 or 6 races. Our full season, when we go for points, we'll do usually the Best in the Desert series. But I think a lot of it's changing for people. They're kind of picking and choosing the big races. So we have King of the Hammers, which is really like an off-road festival of awesome, is what I call it. You got your do-it-yourselfers building these gnarly rock rigs, and they're basically all day they're recovering from being hammered the night before. And then they're going out, and you go Google that too, but these guys are trying to drive their four-wheel drive vehicles over, you know, rocks bigger than cars. And I I mean, there's thousands of people sitting back watching just everyday Joe go do this.
Yeah, we keep talking every year about going out there and checking that out. I mean, get mixed reviews on just checking it out, but I think that's something we should, for the experience.
Yeah, I'm down.
100% you guys need to come out. So when you guys come out, we have some vehicles we could drive you around in, just like Raptors and Broncos and stuff. Definitely come out, camp, bring some good whiskey, and you have to see it. It's amazing. And that's what makes that race so big. I don't think it's necessarily the race as much as it is the whole environment of the event. Baja 1000, I think it's more the mystique of Baja, because, I mean, we're just racing through the desert all the same way, but there's so much history and there's always a story, right? Like, I mean, I could talk for hours about one race, all the shit that happened just in one race. Then you got the Mint 400, and that's just a big, brutal, tough race. And then you have Vegas to Reno, just like it sounds. You're going from outside of Vegas to outside of Reno for 550 miles. And our racing's not like stopped, right? Like the green flag goes and you stop when you get to the finish line. There's no in between. There's no, hey, slow down or cautions or anything. You just go. And those races take the fastest classes about 9 hours, 10 hours, and the slow guys can do it 30 or 40 hours. Same race course.
Wow.
It's a big gap.
Yeah. I had no idea.
That's one year we did the stock Toyota Tundra at the Baja 1000. I think it was 2007. And it was a 1,300-mile Baja 1000. Started in Ensenada and finished on the beach of Cabo San Lucas. And we were in the truck 54 hours. So not straight. Like I drove the start, and then my business partner drove. Another guy drove the middle leg. Then I got back in, and then my business partner did the finish. 54 hours that truck went nonstop.
Damn. Is that like pulling the short straw that you got to drive the stock truck versus the trophy truck?
That was just some like brilliant idea we had to just like make parts for a Tundra and go race it at the Baja 1000. But it was cool. I mean, more stories from that for sure than like trophy trucks. Like, yeah, we went fast and got done, but we raced, 2/3 longer. It was brutal.
That's wild.
So how big of a part of your business is doing stuff for the, I don't want to say street trucks, but the modern production trucks versus the full out race trucks? And then kind of piggyback on that, how much do you learn from the race trucks that you could apply to the production market?
I mean, 90% of our business is the everyday guy, Raptors, Broncos, Tacomas, Tundras, Silverados. That's like the bulk of what we do. We're getting back into doing the 2,500 trucks. They kind of went away for a while because of gas prices. And now even with these higher gas prices, it's kind of here to stay now. But we're the very high end. We're the, like, you get our suspension because when you go hunting or off-roading, you want your truck to get you there and home as well as ride well. The racing is, it's a fraction of the business, about 10% of it, whether it's components and parts, the rear ends, all that type of stuff. It's really more of the passion of why we do this. It keeps our sanity. Otherwise, I'm just a suspension lift kit company, and that's not as exciting as a trophy truck building company. I think is more fun. We only build 2 trucks a year. I don't want to do more than that. We're some of the guys out there that's like all they do. And I could just imagine, like, you have 20 racers going to the same race with 20 of your trucks. They're breaking things and crashing at qualifying, and you have to get them to the race. It'd feel impossible to do. It'd be very overwhelming for sure.
That's crazy. I see you're doing the new Raptor stuff. How are you liking that thing?
I love the new Raptor. I think they've done a great job on that. They've linked the rear suspension, which I really like. The geometry you get out of linking the rear suspensions, obviously 10 times ahead of leaf springs. The shock valving they have in the Gen 3 is definitely way better than the 1 and the 2. It's not as bouncy just out of the box. And the stuff we have coming out with some long travel and some of the slapper bump stop stuff. It's big improvements, a lot of potential with that truck for sure.
What about the Bronco? You're doing a lot of stuff for the new Bronco too, right?
Yeah, basically the same, just on a mini version. Those Broncos are great. They're definitely, I can see them giving Jeep a run for their money, because Ford's technology of what they have on the interior with their electronics and stuff, I feel is far ahead of what Chrysler's been doing. I think Jeep's been asleep at the wheel for too long, right? They just build the same vehicle over and over and over. Absolutely love Jeeps. My daughter has one of the new JLs. It's a 2019. And I mean, it does what it does very well. It's just not what Ford did with the Bronco. The IFS in the front, I just call it a gushier ride, just rides so nice. And off-road capability, it's more of what I think most people want to do. I don't think most people want to go rock crawling. I think most people just want to go down the dirt trail and get through the obstacles. And I think the Bronco does that really well.
Yeah, pull off in the backyard and said they went off-roading, and
Turn all the lights on.
Yeah, in the Midwest, that's all we can do.
Yeah. Well,
I was looking at Texas. We went out to Austin and actually did a little tour of Texas, visited, different friends out there. And, you look at some of the driveways people have, and I'm like, man, that's like an off-road course, just getting from the street to your garage. Like that would be really hard to not continue that around the property and then to the garage. So got my eyeballs on those areas with land.
So talk to us a little bit about overlanding. You're doing some overlanding, and honestly, I don't know much about it. I know that they put cool. like tents on the back of the truck.
Yeah, it's all you see at SEMA is tents and racks.
It looks
and stuff,
like it's just camping in a truck.
Well, I see it at SEMA, and I'm always looking at them like, do people actually use that, or is that just like a SEMA thing?
Yeah, tell us noobs about overlanding.
So, since day one in 97, our first customers were like, hey, I need to do the suspension because I'm going out to the desert camping, right? So we've just always called it camping, just like you guys look at it. And then, the term overlanding, I think is this like Africa, Australia term, like, they're just going across the whole country and whatever they have with the tent, sleeping and stuff. So we've embraced it. I'd say my business partner in 2015, we got this brand new Toyota Tundra. And, if you've been to SEMA, the guys at Decked, the guys at Rigid, the guys at Fox, the guys at FMF, Magnaflow, they've all wrapped our truck and made it their truck for a SEMA, which has been great. But that was, the rack over the bed with the tent, so you're putting 300 pounds at the roof of your truck and you're going off-road with it. It's really kind of dumb, to be honest with you. So we've heavily embraced it. We've lived it as legit as you can. And we've gone really high end with the guys at like Go Fast Campers. And we got these like extruded aluminum space age camping tents, and, the whole thing's like not even 300 pounds. So really smart way to do it. It's just a lot to have on your truck every day if you're not using it all the time. So we've come up with the term, instead of overlanding, overloading. And you're basically bringing so much shit with you out there that you think you might need that you never touch. So you got these action packer totes or any of these boxes full of like, nails and ropes and strings and tools and all this bullshit you bring and you never even use it. But when you need it, right? So our new builds, I'm going on my Raptor. I just want to do one of those like hard tonneau covers that lock so it keeps everything out of the elements, but it's also secure. And I have these MOLLE panels from Built Right that go down the sides of the bed in the Raptor so I can attach things to the side. I'm doing some aircraft E-Track on the floor, so one on each side, one down the middle, but offset, one little bed hump over. And you could just ratchet strap down what you're bringing with you. And so we'll be doing it like either the tent with a cot or the tent with an air mattress. And you set up your sleeping, but you can still go take your truck out and explore. And all the weight's down low in the bed of the truck, but you might bring, a total of 200-300 pounds of stuff with you, including the cooler, right? And then inside the cab will be your sleeping gear, the soft goods, call it, your clothing and stuff. I think it's a more practical way of doing it for 90% of the people. But I had to go down the road of being authentic and actually living it. to learn and figure out like, yeah, that's cool, but that's not for 90% of the people. And I think you're going to see a big shift of the actual people that trick out their trucks and use them going that direction.
Yeah, I've always looked at the tent on top of the truck. Like, it seems like a cool idea, but like, you're stuck there. You're not going anywhere once you set up camp, right?
Yeah, but it was fine. Like at 17, when I convinced the girlfriend, we just threw the pup tent in the bed of the truck, and I was overlanding back then. And honestly, I wasn't really worried about going anywhere else.
Yeah, but with our group, like, you'd be sleeping in that tent, and if it's attached to the top of the truck,
yeah,
you'd wake up going for like a hell ride in that thing. So
it's funny when they get stuck in parking garages. Like, it's about 2 inches too tall, and they're just wedged in there. I always like that one.
We had a sales guy do that one time with a chassis display in the bed of one of our trucks.
Oh, gosh.
Pulled into a parking garage, hit the opening sign, flipped the display out the bed of the truck.
Oh, my gosh.
It was a mess.
Yeah, I would also equate it to, like, you know, when you think of like a hot rod that's got slicks in the back and these big gigantic tires, and he's got like who knows what engine.
Small block.
Yeah. And it's like, that's not very practical to drive. It doesn't want to turn.
It's the look. I mean, it's the same thing we see with either Baja Designs or KC or all these lights. I mean, I'm looking at them, for the truck right now. You're doing the same thing. I mean, we're looking at all these lights. I'm like, yeah, this fucking looks badass. We probably don't need near the amount of lights that we're probably planning on purchasing for the front bumper. But
you gotta look cool.
It's the look.
Yeah, for sure. And that's where, you know, like out of the brands, it's where I think Baja Designs just wins, right? Because they have that single row, gives you the look, but it's not kind of over the top. My Raptor actually has 3 different lights on it. So I have the fog pockets, I got the lights, the linkable ones on the bumper, and then I got the A-pillars. But the ones I use when I'm off-road are just those 2 A-pillars, because those 2 Baja Designs XL80 Pros, I mean, that's what like the moto dudes in Baja race with one of those. And that's all that motorcycle going 80 mile an hour uses. And here our trucks will have like 30 of them. It's like a wall of light coming at you. But yeah, it's definitely the look, you know?
So new 2022 truck, what is your top gun? What would you buy? And then what would Camburg do to upgrade it over stock?
Yeah, I mean, it's a tough one, right? Because they all do something really well. And so I think it's hard to beat the Ford Raptor right now. They have the tech, they have the feel, they have the fit finish. The Ram TRX is pretty badass. Like it's got all the power, but it doesn't have anything else. It's just like, it's got balls. It's fun to drive.
It's like all the other Mopars, just power.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a lot of power, but like the fit finish is, I don't know, like the steering wheel and the inside, it feels cool. But like the electronics, that big dashboard, you want it to be like a Tesla where it's like the whole thing's the map, but it gives you like just the Apple CarPlay still small. That I don't know if I'm doing it right. Maybe I'm butchering this, but that part was kind of a bummer. I couldn't figure it out. And then the off-road ability of that thing, like I drove it down pit row at a race and my head hit the headline, like bounced me right into it. So I don't know, other than power on the Dodge. So, and you can't really change out the shocks easy because they're all interconnected. Where I feel like the Raptor is a lot more upgradable. And then we got one of those new Toyota Tundras, and that looks really promising, but we haven't dug into it too deep yet. So we're going to have a new long travel kit for that, and the geometry of the front of that truck really lends itself well. So I think we're going to get about 16, 17 inches out of the front. And then just like the Raptor, it's linked in the back. So that's going to give us a lot of opportunity. Yeah, I think it's really a toss up between like the Tundras and the F-150s.
It's talking about the Mopar stuff. I'm like, go ahead.
You're gonna go hard. You're gonna drop his hammer
get
on
some
that
hate mail. Yeah.
All right.
So the Mopar stuff always reminds me of like, I don't know if you'll get this reference. You're not from the Midwest, but like a big corn-fed Nebraska boy. He's strong as shit and probably got a decent Johnson on him. But when it comes time to do anything else, I mean, he ain't the sprightest one, you know. And he ain't, that's where I look at like some of the Mopar shit. Like it's got a bunch of horsepower, and you know you can show off, but other than that, it ain't doing shit.
It's pretty
Yeah,
good.
and
Pretty good description.
I think the name Bubba comes to mind, right? Like
Yeah, that's a little bit more Alabama, kind of in Josh's area.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, it's yeah. You're right.
You know,
I
several
don't think
people
you're
named
too
Bubba.
far off. Yeah, we have one of the guys who comes on our trips. He's got his 2500. That thing mobs pretty good. It's straight axle. It's got big Fox shocks and big springs and stuff in it. It does well. But I equate it to like we have a 2020 Super Duty. It's got 1050 torque stock, and he's like, "Well, I did the delete this and the chip and whatever, and I'm making 1,000 pounds of torque." And I'm like, "We just spent 10 grand doing all this shit, and I just have a bone stock truck and it's 1050 torque. I've never had a problem with these things. They look good. The tech's great." But I haven't personally owned a Ram, right? Like we talk about doing suspension and owning one, but every time I look at it, there's like, it's just not the same. I think, when you have the Chevy or the Ford, you just pick, what color do you like better and pick one, right? They both.
The Chevy's getting their ass kicked though in that arena on the 4-wheel drive stuff. I mean, you got the Raptor and the TRX. Say what you want to about either one of them stuff, but I mean, an AT4 is not a Raptor or a TRX.
Not even close. Yeah.
And
I think Chevy has the 6-point. They have the engine, right?
Yeah.
Like their engine's badass. Their new trucks are pretty nice, but I feel like hey, I'm going to go buy a new Chevy. Oh, but my dashboard's from 10 years ago still.
Yeah, dude.
They just dropped a new one.
That?
No,
they put the new like,
2023
Tahoe or whatever in it.
Did it get smaller?
No,
the screen. Yeah, the screen. It's just like the 2022, like you said, the Tahoe or Denali or stuff. They put it in the truck, but still, the outside just sucks. I mean, everything about. I don't know. This is coming from a GMC guy since like 04. I've had GMC Sierras, white crew cabs, 4-wheel drive, every 2 or 3 years, and made the change over to Ford recently. Phil's got himself a little special thing on the way. So we'll be duking it out. I love the Raptor, the new Raptor. We've talked about it, me and you, Jerry. The tech is crazy. The drivability. I don't know what Chevrolet can do to top that from a looks or performance standpoint.
What I feel like these manufacturers need people like us, right? Like your company, our company. There's a lot of other talented people on a design panel. Right? Like, because I think we build pushing the limits forward stuff. Like, I don't want to build yesterday. I want to build tomorrow. And it frustrates me, when I look at a Gen 1 Raptor, 6.2 liter, people like, oh, it's that the Gen 1's the best. Well, I've owned them all, and the Gen 3 is the best because I can tell you because I've owned them all. But when I look at the Chevy, it's not even the Gen 1 Raptor. It's still that far behind, right? But when they make, like they have that 6.2 liter engine, there's so many aftermarket parts you could trick that thing out with. It wins on so many levels of that, but it misses on the rest of it. And I think that's the part you want to own in the truck. And that's where going back to the Ram, you look at that big screen and the steering wheel feels like a Porsche. Like the thing's just really cool, but it misses on a lot. And it's like, the new Tundra, you go to like Apple CarPlay mode and you go to the Google map. The new Tundra, the whole screen is the map. But why isn't the Ford and why isn't the Chevy? You know what I mean?
Right.
I feel like Ford Toyota nailed that a lot harder.
I think they all get together at the beginning of the year and realize
you're going to win here, we're going to win here.
Because you can't have one person win at all.
That just knocks it out of the park.
Knock it out of the park.
Those new Tundras are sharp looking. I just don't know that I could own a non-American
I don't know.
pickup truck.
They don't. You keep seeing them everywhere. People raving about them and stuff. The outside of them, just the looks just don't do it for me. It's got a weird front end fascia nose. I don't know.
I like the windshield and the way they blacked it out, kind of wrapping around and into the divider between the two windows, and it just looks.
It's got a
sharp.
Y'all have got the new Tundra, right? You're developing some stuff on.
Yeah, we just got that one, the platinum one. Yeah, and I think it's interesting, right? Because you guys are on the complete other side of our country. And, in California, it's like everything, right? Everyone likes everything out here. you're either a fan, like there's the Dodge people or the Ford people or the Toyota people. And it's interesting, when I was out in Tennessee, they're like, Toyota Tundra, what are you talking about? We wouldn't own that. It's not American.
Yeah.
But yet it's made in Texas, right? Where when you look at the, some of the Chevys or those, they're like, made in Mexico, or a lot of parts, or just, I feel like a lot of it's globally sourced now, the parts, the pieces, whatever. But yeah, it's definitely like, I feel like that's going to be the hurdle for a brand like Toyota, is like, they need to get out to you guys. They need to get to that Midwest crowd. They own the California crowd. Like you can't buy a Tundra or a Tacoma. They're probably not even in stock because they're sold out on the West Coast. Definitely interesting perspective.
Speaking
and
of,
you guys are what, in Illinois, right?
Yep.
Yeah, north of Chicago.
Yeah, it's pretty hardcore Chevy, Ford, Dodge,
Yeah.
or Ram now, but
Good bit of Rams around.
yeah,
You see those a lot.
a lot of Honda Pilots.
Different type of guy driving the Ram.
That we'll just leave it at that.
We're gonna leave it right there.
We'll just leave it at that. Speaking of toys, you got yourself something new. I think I just saw an update that it's on the water headed this way, isn't it?
Yeah. So that thing's it's in the port, and today or tomorrow should be at the dealership.
I don't even know if Phil knows about this. This will be right up Phil's alley.
Mazda Miata.
Jerry's got himself a car on the way. Tell Phil what you got.
GT3 Porsche.
Ooh, that's like my unicorn car. That's the best thing out there.
Yeah,
He thought the Miata would scratch the itch. It just hasn't done it.
And the funny thing is that Miata probably keep up with it on the track.
the driver's car, so it's got a good driver. Hell yeah.
Yeah.
How long you been waiting on that?
So I got the call. I actually just got to SEMA and parked our Raptor with the Score guys, the off-road display. I'm walking out, and the manager of my dealer calls, "Hey, got your car." And he actually got him with whiskey too. So he had the Porsche rep out and goes, "Hey, I need one more allocation for a car, but let's go get some whiskey." And got him with that. So I sold my other one when I got that news, and just getting the new one. So it's going to be cool. It's just all black on black and carbon fiber and ceramic brakes. And I don't know. They're just, I don't know. Just wants to do wheelies going down the street. I think it's just badass.
Yeah, that's
Do a
sick car.
Baja version of that.
I know. I get that all the time. I would love to do like an older 911. But the problem is just the damn shell of the thing's like 50 grand. It'd be like a 200. It'd be more a trophy truck to build an off-road Porsche.
Well, we're coming to a few of the standard questions. We got a couple more to ask. Where do you see your industry going in the next 5 to 10 years? You've alluded to the fact of the all-wheel drive and four-wheel drive, so I could take a guess and see that it's probably more of that. But you might surprise us. Where do you think you're going in the next 5 to 10 years?
I mean, really just doing the same thing. It's funny. I have a guy who works for us, Jerry Welchel. He's like one of the most winning off-road racers, the short course champion, the first monster athlete behind a four-wheel vehicle. I don't know if you've seen the movie Dust to Glory, but when the trophy truck hits the motorhome along the beach, that was him driving. Anyways, I said to him today, he was mounting some bead locks for the Raptor. And I go, just think like 10, 15 years ago, if we said, hey, we're going to build billet aluminum links for the stock Ford Raptor, we would have looked at each other and said, what? Like trucks are coming linked stock, and we're going to have CNC machines and be making billet parts to bolt on trucks. I thought that would have been kind of silly 15, 20 years ago. I see our tech, just the expansion, getting into more multi-axis machining and kind of more space age cool parts. All the new trucks are coming linked, so it's going to keep us busy doing a lot more of the linked rear suspension, because before we just do the front, now we're going to do the front and the rear, a lot more of the rear. Probably investing in our own laser equipment, press brakes. It's been one of those things that, we have a really good industry out here. So, I mean, on every corner there's laser cutters, so you don't really have to take up the space and have to do it. But now with our volumes and just the fact that we want to build it right now, now we would want to be able to do that in-house. More engineers. I don't know. Like, I think shocks are going to be a big one. Like Fox has really been going down that road with, electronically controlled shocks. Years and years ago, I always used to joke saying, a bypass shock needs like little RC car steering servos to control the tubes. And you got a knob in your dash and you pre-program it. So you got 1 through 5 or 1 through 10, and you just set it on a setting and it gives you automatically like sets the shocks up to that program. And, that's the stuff that's coming for sure.
Speaking of shocks, you put up a video, I think it was today or whatever, showing all the shit you've got in stock. We're going to have to start buying fucking Fox from you because I don't know how you're getting them. We can't get fucking shit.
Man, like a year out, we just forecasted really well with.
Don't even use that fucking forecast with me. That's what they tell me all the time. We got to fucking forecast it better. Yeah.
Yeah, it's frustrating for sure. Especially like, new Tundra comes out and, competitors are like leaking stuff out. Like, hey, here's some parts on your new Tundra and we don't have anything, so like, what are we supposed to do when, these are marketing partners to us?
Yep.
We got to do what we got to do to stay alive.
You got to stay loyal, but it gets to a point you're like, come on, man, we got to roll.
Yeah. And I mean, and let's face it, it's not hard to build that stuff. I don't know what the holdup is. I don't know if it's just OEM commitments or if it is really materials, right?
I was hoping you were going to shed some light on it because I've heard those same 2 excuses. So I was.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I could just imagine how busy they are. Their shocks are coming standard on so many vehicles now. And I mean, Fox shocks weren't on a hot rod 5 years ago, right?
Right.
Now that's a big thing. So their capacity. So I could blame you guys why I don't have shocks. But at least I have them on my hot rod. So that's it. Am I okay to say hot rod? Can I call a truck a hot rod?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. I think you touch on a lot of similarities that we go through in our business with. We went down a lot of the same paths. We want to go in a lot of the same paths that you touched on there. I think you can kind of jump on that. That's bringing a laser in-house, bringing the machining in-house, bringing more and more engineers in-house. You seem like the same type of guy that the more you have, the more you can create and the more you can build with that. Yeah. So we relied heavily on technology and in-house capabilities. And just if you have the capacity, you're going to fill it.
Yeah,
for sure.
And not having like those lofty, like 5 years from now, we're going to be doing this. Because if you're thinking about that, like you're already off base,
Yeah.
Like have the
worry about what you're
machinery
doing
and
next
just
week.
Fucking rock and roll,
Well, I mean, good grief, everybody's learned that too, especially post-COVID. I mean, you've got to have the control over it. I mean, you've got to be doing it yourself. You can't rely on anybody, no matter who the partner is. Right. You've just got to be doing it yourself. It's unfortunate.
And once you bring laser cutting in-house, you're going to be like, in 2 months, you're going to be saying to yourself, like, how the hell did we operate without this here?
What did I do without all these laser cut dicks? I mean, how did I go to work every day without all these laser cut dicks?
This one's got this guy's name on it, this guy's name on it. But it totally changes the way you operate. Yeah,
bandsaw blades are rusted to shit.
Yeah, you can really move quickly.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, that's like with CNC machining, like, we had our buddies' machine shops always making us parts. Like, oh, it's the tooling's so expensive or this and that. It's like, I remember I got my first lathe and I told the guy, I'm like, I need these 3 parts programmed and you need to show me how to turn this thing on and switch the programs and make these parts. And I was sitting out there with a cordless phone back then, talking to people on the phone as I'm pressing buttons on a machine. And I think I did that for about 3 weeks. And I'm like, okay, we need a machinist, like this really makes sense. And I hired my first guy and he's able to do basic programming and it's a lathe. So it all worked out. And now we have 7 of those machines and we need to expand that building. And I need 4 more new machines. And that's just to do our own product. That's not even trying to think about doing anyone else's product,
That's awesome.
And I can only imagine with the laser and the right press brake. And I don't want like last year's stuff. I want like the newest, best stuff. Just the capabilities it's going to give us.
That's kick-ass.
I mean, it's definitely, you're on the right track for sure.
Yeah. Tube laser for all the pre-runner chassis. And
you just need to move out west. You said you did a tour of Texas. What do you think of Texas? Obviously, you got to get the fuck out of California.
It's hard. Like,
see, there's no surfing in Texas.
No, there's surfing in Texas.
Yeah, no, there definitely is.
Don't give me the shit about the weather. I don't give a fuck about the weather.
Yeah, the weather's fucking awesome. The fact that I'm in Huntington Beach and I could like put my dog on a leash and walk to the beach, that's the hard part to leave. But as my kids get older, my daughter's going to graduate high school and now they're going to both be in college. Now it's going to get easier. Like where are they going and what are they going to do? What I liked about Texas was it's like kind of reminded me of Nashville. Like, cause I actually visited Jesse at his house. But it's hilly and it's green. The bummers, there's not the same kind of land use as there is here. Like we have all this public land we could go on. There you're going to have to know the guy who owns the 1,000 acres and get to go on his property to use his land to go have some fun. And then we went out, we visited Nashville. I'm actually going to go back out there again and look around. But I really liked Austin, not the city as much, but south of Austin. Real hilly and green. The weather seems like it's similar to Southern California, a little colder in the winter, a little hotter in the summer, but not in a bad way. And that really kind of spoke to me there. There's a lot of water. There's, the lake. And so the one neighborhood I want to look at is called Lakeway. And it's just right there on the lake. It seems like it could be a really cool lifestyle because I need to be by water.
I like that. We like that area of Austin as well. Again, echo you, not so much the city.
Yeah, stay the hell away from the city.
But down there, but you're doing just like everybody else has done. You're moving straight from California, straight to Austin. I mean, y'all going to fuck it up there too. Go
He's not part of the problem.
I know he's not part of the problem, but it's just, it's easy to say. We've got to start like, there's got to be something. Nashville is already overloaded. Austin's overloaded. There's got to be something else. It's got to be like,
Albuquerque.
Albuquerque sucks.
I think it's hard to beat, like I think Texas has a vibe. When I first pulled into Austin, I was like greeted with like, yeah, you guys have been there, right? So you have this freeway and the homeless live under the freeway and we're at this red light right when we get off the freeway. And there's this dude holding a machete who's in his underwear walking across the street. And I'm like,
oh, they do that on purpose. They don't want anybody else moving there. They sent the welcoming party.
Yeah, this is awesome.
They saw my rental car and they're like, oh, there he is. Okay. Send out machete guy. But I was really blown away because I was just in Nashville and it was a hoot. I mean, that place is so fun. We went down to Broadway Street. We went to the other side of the tracks, kind of more like where the locals go. But my parents are both from Chicago. So my uncles and grandma and all of them are from Chicago and they just do things way differently than people in California. And so when I get back to Texas, it's like, we're asking them like, okay, so we have In-N-Out Burger. What do you have? And they go, well, we have Hugh Babies. And this is in Nashville. Sorry. We have Hugh Babies. I'm like, okay, it's like a little local burger joint. So we go there. The lady's missing teeth, has all the carny tattoos. And she's like, hi, how y'all doing? What can I do for you? And it's like, we haven't been here. Someone said we need to try this out. So what would you recommend? Well, the this and the that, but you got to do the that. Okay, give me both of them. Well, you don't need to buy both. And I'm like, well, we want to try them. We're not from here. Oh, that's okay. She sells us the one, gives us the other as a sample. We're all eating like, where's the hidden camera? Then
dude was probably some of Josh's family members down there. Yeah.
We get the guy from the cook comes out, the young kid. Hey, we just made some more fries. These are fresh out of the fryer. The ones he had were sitting there in the thing. Just want you to have some fresh ones. It's like, we all look at each other like, you gotta be kidding. But then we go out at night on Broadway Street. We're drinking. No one's fighting each other. Everyone's laughing, having a good time. The doormen are like, oh, sorry, you got to wait in that line. It goes really fast, but here we got to scan everyone's ID in this thing. So it just takes a little bit of time, but everyone gets in. Well, in California, it's like, stand in the line, wait, because they want it to look like it's a popular place. They'll make you wait an hour just to get in. So you're over. There, it's like this long ass line. It took like 5 minutes only because they have to scan everyone's ID to get in.
Hospitality,
it's a little more hardcore and like tough in California. You get in the Midwest or you get down south,
a lot more laid back.
Yeah, a little more welcoming.
That's correct, but at the same time, that's Nashville. Austin is the only city. I'm 43 years old. Austin is the only city. Us three were walking around broad daylight, downtown, just sightseeing. We're checking things out. That was the time I said, it's time for us to go. We thought we were going to get
mugged.
That was the scaredest that I've ever been. Just walking in a city, you could tell right then.
It is going to ruins.
We did not belong, and we should just get out right then.
When were you guys there?
This was probably end of last year. It's like October probably of last year.
So we were there around the same time, and my wife's like, "Oh, let's go listen to music." So we walk down the street, and I'm like, "Babe, I'm not doing this." And she got mad at me, and I'm like, "You don't understand. I have to defend you." Like, and I'm sensing that there's a problem around. It's like we have a good intuition, right? It's like bred in our brains.
Yeah.
Like, I think men just know, like, okay, I'm a predator, but that predator's looking at me too. Like,
there's 7 other predators that are bigger than me. It's time for me to leave.
Yeah, I'm by myself with my wife, and there's like 10 tweaker dudes on the corner that want to rob us. Yeah, I got a really uneasy feeling, and I was really bummed because it really gave me Nashville vibes. There's all these cool bars.
It's so cool down there. It's so much cool shit,
and it was dead. Like there was no one there. Where like Nashville was just packed. Oh yeah. And like I said, it's Nash Vegas, call it, right? Everyone's just having a good time.
Yeah, when I went to Austin for the first time, I wanted it to be Nashville because I thought it was like kind of the preconceived notion I had. And dude, it couldn't have been any further from.
Remember that one bar we were sitting at that eating dinner that night, and it was in Austin.
Which?
Because we were talking about everything's flipping around, and like the cowboy stuff and smoking and all that.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's just weird. I'm all about eccentric and weird and go some cool places. And Nashville's got some. You go to East Nashville, there's some really cool places in there. Austin was just. It was a shame because it's so much cool stuff, and I'm sure that it was a great. And it might be coming back great again. But at that point in time, end of last year, I mean. It was scary to be there, honestly.
Yeah, I just looked at my phone. So I was in Nashville in June, and I was in Austin in July, and it was wild.
2 totally different places.
Completely, they felt the same, yet they were so different. But the one cool thing about Austin is I don't remember the name of the place, but we went to this gas station, and right behind it there was this barbecue place, and it's like that would be the biggest home run in Southern California. And it's like, it's kind of fast foody. They have like the trough where you wash your hands and like there's no napkins, like rolls of paper towels, but you like go up to them, you order it, they put it, slap it on your plate. And then you just go sit down like family style at benches inside the place. Man, it was so good.
Is that the place we ate?
We just went somewhere like that.
That was in Austin, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I don't remember the name of the barbecue place, but it started with the R, right? Roxy's or something like that.
I think it was an R. I think you're right. I'm digging through my phone because I know
that was if it's the same place. That was top 3 best barbecue ever.
How do you guys do? I drink too much because I didn't remember this.
You weren't there.
Oh, that explains it.
Yeah, this was me, Phil, and Blaze.
This was a different. Second time.
Oh,
Rudy's.
Yeah, that place.
It was
Rudy's.
Rudy's.
It was Rudy's. Yes.
Yeah.
I'm looking at the picture.
North of Austin quite a bit.
Yeah, that place.
It was a gas station
they've got a couple of different locations, I think. But yeah,
this one was East Oak Hill, Rudy's.
Rudy's barbecue. It is fucking good.
Yeah, it was insane.
Like seriously, and it's cheap. And that's the other crazy thing with like California versus these other places. It's like, you go eat barbecue. I was what's that town called? Bartonville, just north of Fort Worth, and we went to this roadhouse, all brand new, killer bar. I mean, super nice, but that kind of food. And I'm like, just give me the sampler platter, like the brisket, the ribs, and it was $24. Well, in California, you go to Lucille's, which is like a chain, and it's like $40.
Yeah. That's key. Any barbecue place, always order the sampler. You got to get 3 meats because one is always bad. So you got to diversify your portfolio there.
And brisket's always a gamble. You got to try it, but it's 9 times
this was
out
like
of 10.
melt in your mouth good. It was so good.
Wow.
Now I need to go eat barbecue for dinner.
Yeah, I'm kind of hungry myself. So now we get to some of the standard questions that we ask every single guest. We're going to roll through. What's the best car movie and why?
Best car movie. Oh man. Can it be a TV show?
Absolutely.
Dukes of Hazzard.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Yep.
I think we could debut it. then.
Absolutely. We should show it.
Yeah, we've got Phil scored this sweet piece of Dukes of Hazzard
Solid
memorabilia.
eBay
here.
Oh, look at that. That is badass.
Dukes of Hazzard
I don't
garbage can.
Yeah, there's just something when you're a kid watching that show. I'm 49 years old, and I mean, I grew up on that, right? Like Smokey and the Band and Dukes of Hazzard. There's something about seeing that thing just jumping over everything. It was just the best thing ever, right?
Do you feel like that's like somewhat responsible for what you do now, like building shit to jump not fold in half? Like,
oh, 100%.
It's gotta be in the back of your
when
mind.
I get in one of my cars or my trucks, and I'm just thinking Smokey and the Bandit, Dukes of Hazzard, Chips, all that kind of
So,
stuff.
dude,
Should we
how many
touch
times
on the ultimate build?
Yeah, I got to throw this out here, and I don't want to let the cat out of the bag, but you're the perfect guy to collaborate on this.
Oh, good.
My dream project.
You're dropping it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm going to drop it. The number one car I want to build is a pre-runner General Lee. I want to do
The General Pre.
the General Pre, but tube chassis. But I actually want to do it. We screw around in the dunes, so I want to do it as a rear engine. So,
Okay.
transaxle, so it'll wheelie and shit. But something like 20 plus inches of travel, something you could just fucking send.
That
And,
would
like,
be bitching.
yeah. So
I got to find the pictures. But when we started Camburg, my business partner's friend had a station wagon with shocks through the hood, shocks up into the back. It's green.
nice.
I gotta get you guys these pictures.
Little family
It's
truckster.
so freaking cool. And we even have a customer. What did he build? Like a Ford, like a cop car, but a Ford.
Like
Yeah.
LTD?
Not the Chevy Caprice, but the Ford version. Dude, the guy's got pictures of that thing like 10 feet in the air. And it's so cool. Total sleeper.
So, dude, this is happening. So it's just a matter of
The General Pre.
That'd be
We've already
when.
got the car.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Let's see. What was the first car or truck that you've ever owned, and a best story about that car?
1989 Toyota pickup truck.
it's a cool truck.
My parents didn't really have a lot of money up until about, and I don't want to say they were rich at the time, but I'm the only kid, and I thought I was getting my dad's 1985 old Cutlass Sierra Brougham, the Broham, power steering, one finger power steering.
Yeah.
I was stoked. I'm like, okay, I could put surf racks on the roof. I get a free car. Stoked, right? And 16th birthday, I'm born in January, but for Christmas, they had like another stocking, and they had this Toyota key in it. And they're like, oh no, that stocking's for you. And I'm like, oh, what did you get? Like, what year is this truck? And they go, no, it's not in yet, but it'll be here next week. It's brand new. And it was this 5995 when Toyota made like a really good, solid, cheap truck. It was a standard cab, no stereo. It was white with blue. And 1989 was the brand new body style, that round Toyota. It was from like 89 to the first half of 95. And because of that truck, I really feel like I'm doing what I do now because I got that truck. That was like one of those fork in the road fate moments, because it didn't have a stereo in it. And it was like, well, I had enough money to buy a tape deck and have them put it in, or I had enough money to buy a CD player, but I had to put it in. And I'm like, who the fuck wants tapes? Like, I want the damn CD player. So I got the CD player, and I learned how to put a stereo in a car that I thought was going to be very difficult, hard to do. And it really wasn't that hard at all. It's just, figuring out which wires were the speaker wires. But once you know that the red's the power and the black's the ground and which one the stock wire was, you really couldn't mess up the rest of it, right? And the guy at the stereo shop's like, you take a battery, drew out the wire colors. And fortunately, my dad was in the business where he had like tools. So he had crimping tools. And that, because I put a stereo in and I used a steak knife to cut the door panels to fit the speakers in. Like, it was just like, wow, I could do this. I could work on a car. And I didn't grow up with my dad working on cars. So it was like, you know, I had to kind of figure this out. And at that moment, I'm like, this is just cool working on cars.
Dude, that literally sounds like Spicoli right now. I don't mean to cut you off. But like, dude, I can fix this. My dad's got
I can do this. Like, let's figure it out. And, you know, back then, mini trucks were cool. And my friend lowered his Nissan, and I turned the torsion bars up on my truck to kind of have it lifted because his older brother had a 1980 4x4 Toyota, and I wanted it to be more lifted because I just thought that was cooler. And that's what I did. So that truck also led to my first job in the auto world. There's a guy named Primo Desiderio. He's like a pro skater, and his brother owned a window tint shop called Desi's Accessories. Their last name's Desiderio. And, you know, we got to cut, like he let me cut the roof of a Honda to put a sunroof in. Because back then that's how you did a sunroof.
Yeah.
And like he let me like cut into a brand new Honda. And I actually didn't fuck it up, which was really cool.
But you thought that was the most awesome thing, didn't you? You're like,
in that truck, because I wanted to get my windows tinted, turned into like, oh, cool truck. Hey, would you like a job? We need someone to run errands. Yeah, dude, cool. But then it was always like wanting to work on that stuff. And that led, you know, a lot of different fate things took me to this. Because I'm just, like I said, I'm a kid in Huntington Beach, California, that all I think about is surfing. Snowboarding and surfing, and now I own an off-road company, which I'm nowhere near the desert. You think about it, right?
Closer than we are.
That's a good truck though, because Marty McFly's, that was an 85 or 86 Toyota.
Well, that was the one that popped into my head when you said that. Is that the body style?
Yours 86. What do you say? What year?
Mine was 89. So it was the first year when they kind of went rounded.
Oh, yeah. So a little bit more sporty.
How does that compare to the Iron Man truck right over your right shoulder there?
I got to look this up.
Look at the Iron.
That was a cool ass truck.
Same kind of body as that, right?
Yeah, those were rad.
I even had the black one. Yeah, it's just cool. Like
best arcade game in the history of arcade games.
Oh, Ivan Stewart's off.
We had it in our showroom, and we had to get rid of it because of the noise. Like we tried to, everyone would just come here. We had the triple one too.
Yeah, that's the shit.
That's awesome.
With nitrous boost.
Yeah.
What's the trickiest build that you've ever been a part of?
Ooh. I mean, I want to say the first trophy truck we engineered and built, but that's kind of a cop out.
That's too easy.
The trickiest build. We've done a lot of really cool builds, but I would say probably the first A-arm Ford Ranger. We had a customer that wanted a long travel kit, and that was like probably, so we started Camburg in 97, and that was the last year of the I-beam Ford Ranger. So like 98, 99 Ford Ranger guys that come in and go, well, I want coilovers and long travel. So I would say in the early days, you know, hand building and figuring out the old school way with, you know, Sharpies and tape measures and straight edges on the floor, geometry. Those are probably the coolest, trickiest things we did. And that's the thing too, is like all these long travel kits I see today, no one did it before us. Like the race trucks had this stuff, but it was all race truck. We were putting it on stock frames and doing it. So when I see all these kits these days with like the uniballs and all that stuff, like we were the ones that did that. And, you know, we had to come up with a lot of cool ideas and be very resourceful with what was available. Like you couldn't just call FK and buy a Heim joint the way we do today. Like all those spacers, you know, misalignment spacers and the hardware and the adapters, like none of that existed. Like that all came from a guy, Jack at HM Engineering. Like they made the Heim joints and the uniballs, and they made the spacers, and we came to them and said, well, we need it this way to fit this. And a lot of like the part numbers I see like in the Summit catalog, like I'm like, oh, that's because that was the Ford F-150 radius arm. That's why it's that wide. Okay, that was the Ford van. That's the Ford Ranger. You know, and that's because of the parts we made when no one made that stuff. It's kind of cool.
That's cool.
Yeah, that's
really
why.
cool.
And that's why we buy all that shit from you guys.
Yeah.
But if you're telling me I could get that from Summit, then
Well, hey, if you like that mild steel CAD zinc plated garbage, go
Yeah.
for it.
And now for the last and final question, the one that everybody is on the edge of their seats about. Something we ask every single every single guest. I don't know if you've ever listened to any of this, Jerry, before, but it is time for a pocket dump. What is in your pockets right now?
So I have to empty my pockets.
You absolutely have to empty your pockets.
Ugh.
You can pull cool shit out of your desk drawer too.
Yeah, you
Okay,
it's
so
within,
If it's within arm's reach.
I have an alligator head.
Hey, I got one of those for my kid.
Well, my gun's not on me right now, so I don't have that. I have a wallet. I have a little bit of cash.
Was that front pocket carry wallet?
Yeah, I front right the wallet.
Oh, we've got a large disagreement amongst
We'll
the
get
guests.
we'll get past that.
Yep.
And that's pretty much it. My keys are on I got the Bronco today, so got this cool Bronco keychain here.
That's pretty sweet.
Bronco key.
When you're packing, what are you packing?
Usually a SIG 365. Small works. I also have a 2380 I usually hold in my pocket, like a little neoprene thing.
Yeah.
Because when I feel nervous, like when I'm in that, you just know.
Yep.
My hand's already on it. But I like it in my pocket. It's kind of hard to carry appendix because when you're sitting and you got the dad bod, it just is uncomfortable.
Yeah. Yeah. I know all about it. I've been trying to go to appendix and I'm back to 4 o'clock. So that's where it is.
I like the 2380. I got, different jeans that have bigger pockets.
Yeah.
So what's this front wallet thing? What's that?
So there's a big discussion. This has started from episode 1.
That's how we got it cracking.
We honestly, we didn't even think this was going to be a thing.
We rock the Midwest dad
we're
wallet.
all old school. Like in the Midwest, you've got this just fat, useless wallet. And I feel like I brought this up and it's just across the board. I mean, all of us loaded with
weight.
No cash
Check
in
that
there.
fucker out.
Yeah.
Phil's transitioning, dude. He's going SoCal. Phil's going SoCal.
Phil's going SoCal.
But I mean, it's back wallet, or back pocket. It's a, spinal cord disruptor. It tears up your jeans.
We're trying to find a wallet that'll solve the solutions. Phil thinks he's found something that's thin. Phil doesn't have the things that me and Jeremy have. We like to have things.
I threw out so many things.
We do. I'm down to the bare essentials right now. It is seriously. I have to have these things on me.
It's like Overlanding.
It's just the
You think you need
nostalgia
them.
in me.
I know. We're struggling to find the correct wallet and carry position because the dad wallets aren't doing it. That's for sure.
So the wallet I got, it's like they call it a credit card wallet. So
it like pushes them out, right?
Yeah, I have a daughter and a wife who like nice things. And so we were in Italy and they were in Louis Vuitton and I got this like credit card wallet. Like,
okay.
Well,
it's kind of cool. It's checkered because it's racing and it's red.
Right.
But yeah, it's just credit cards. Here, I'll hold it that way.
What's the thickness on that? If you had to guess, what? 3/8? Oh, that's a ½ inch.
Yeah.
If it's
but I have a lot of shit in it, right? Like if I take out like, the AAA and all the other bullshit. Oh wait, I still have my Vegas hotel shit.
You front pocket carry at ½ inch thick Louis wallet. That's something. I couldn't get used to that. Well, I carry cigarettes in the front pocket, so I guess I could.
What kind of cigarettes?
Shut up. We've already gone over that.
Me, it's also I don't know, like the back pocket thing, like you said, it's just kind of uncomfortable. I carry cash in my back pocket.
See, I'm the flip-flop. I'm a front pocket cash, back pocket wallet.
It's my go-to as well.
I'm a back pocket wallet, no cash. Jerry, it's been great. Seriously.
Yeah, awesome, dude.
Much respect. You're doing some awesome stuff. We didn't really know what to expect. We've really never talked to each other that much. But great story, great, I think great vision, and very similar mentality on business.
For sure, man. And I just want to thank you, man, for being quite an inspiration. You may not know it, and I hate to give away the secret because if you hot rod guys don't know, the trophy truck and off-road guys got it going on. So you might
It's-
want to take a peek at what they're doing every once in a while. But
Yeah, absolutely.
I've been a fan of yours for a long time, man. You got a hell of a business. And yeah, dude, super cool. So keep up the good work.
Yeah,
man.
right back at you. That's why I called you guys and ordered the chassis. I just love it. I just love the quality. The thing's actually sitting on our jig table where we build our trophy trucks, so I could start. It's kind of more at the right level, and start bolting things on there. Got some brakes going on, and just get that stuff going. And once I get the engine and transmission, I send that thing over. Get the exhaust all tricked out over at Magnaflow on that thing, and then I could put the body on it and just finish it. And I think that's the biggest thing with your guys' chassis is, like, from a builder point of view, you know, you guys do it to that level that none of the other guys are doing it at, where you just call and order it, it shows up in a crate, done. That saves me so much time. And even with, I mean, I got 30 something dudes here. Like, we have a lot of talent. We could do this stuff.
Yeah.
But when you look at the cost and you're tooled up and set up to do it, and I look at the quality I get with how the brake lines are run,
For
how it's
sure.
all clamped to the frame, it's just done. And I don't have to worry about it. And that time costs money.
It does.
I get it.
You got to look
Yeah.
at what you're going to forfeit from, like, you know, pulling. You guys are thrashing. I'm sure you've got a hell of a backlog.
Yeah.
And to pull your guys off doing the customer fulfillment you've got, it just doesn't make sense.
Nothing else.
Well, that's
We
why I
one
got
of
this thing, you know, gas tank, powder coated, done, because it's just done. Now I just bolt things on it. And these trucks are pretty simple, right? There's not a whole lot to it. The project's quick. It's not going to take 2 years.
They are simple. I mean, it's way easier to build than a trophy truck. And I think you'll appreciate as you start getting into that. Once you start running the exhaust, you'll realize that, like, dude, it's configured like that. It's been, all those things have been thought of. We've dealt with it. We've adjusted the chassis. There's exhaust mount brackets and threaded holes, and the exhaust will drop right out it, and drive shaft clearance, and it just becomes an easier project to build. And I hope you'll realize that as you get through it, and I think you'll appreciate it.
That's why I picked your chassis, because I looked at everything out there. And, you know, you got some good stuff out there. The guys are doing, like, these airbag lowrider stuff. But when I look at what you guys are doing, is like, you guys are building the whole vehicle. Like, you look on your website, there's actually a truck on your website. It's got an IRS. Josh over there showed me that one. It's an IRS with all ceramic brakes and stuff on it. And it's like almost identical to my truck. And I'm like, it was just shocking to see that truck. I'm like, okay, perfect. I want that. But when I look at your frame and, like, the support, and it's going to be rigid. It's not going to be all flexi flyer. And it's just, you guys build the whole vehicle so you get it. And I think that's a big part of why you guys have that reputation out there. Because everyone's like, oh, what chassis did you get? And they assume I got someone out here in California, and I go, oh, I got the Roadster shop.
So,
Oh, the spec? And I'm like, no, the fast track. Like, oh man, like, they know.
well, you mentioned that truck that Josh had showed you. So I'm gonna, I don't mean to be fucking around on my phone here,
No,
Josh.
go
but
ahead.
I got to share this with you because it's a great customer of ours. So the truck's actually really similar. You probably can't see it from there, but like 67. I mean, it's almost the same kind of patina. So he sends Phil and I a text. I mean, about a couple weeks ago, he says, just took the truck out today and drove it like a daily. It's so enjoyable to drive and use in that way. No worries, just hop in and go. And that's David Meyer. And he has driven the fucking wheels off of that truck and loves it. I mean, when we drove it,
Oh, yeah.
I've probably logged 1,000 miles on that truck. It's you're gonna dig it, man.
Yeah, excited to see what you can do with it, and
Yeah, especially
blown
with your
away
touch.
with your level of skill and, you know, everything that you've done to be that impressed with what we do. That goes a long, long way with us, man. We really appreciate it.
Now,
Wow, thank you.
I will
Thank you.
preface this. It's built well, but it's not built to fucking jump, all right? So,
No, dude,
seriously,
jump it. We fucking jumped
Yeah,
it.
we've
We've
jumped a
jumped them.
couple.
just a little. That's a bunny
little
hop.
bit.
That's a bunny hop. That's not a jump.
But you
Okay,
guys
you can
do
bunny
make
hop.
things you could jump. I've seen it. You guys have some cool shit.
Seriously, I appreciate it, Jerry. It's been awesome.
Yeah,
We're gonna have
it's
to
so
do it
cool,
again. If you're out east and you're up this way, come by and see us. If next time we're out west, we're gonna have to hook up.
We're
and
coming to see you.
come see you, do some dinner or something like that, and hang out.
Yeah, please. That'd be awesome. Are you guys going to SEMA?
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
we'll be out there.
Yep.
Okay. You guys have a booth there usually?
Yep.
Yeah,
Cool.
we'll have to hook up and do something out there in Vegas.
For sure.
Sounds
man.
awesome.
Yeah,
Appreciate
appreciate it, dude.
Big thanks again to our guest, Jerry Zaiden. Remember, you can learn more about his work at camburg.com or at Camburg on Instagram or at Jerry Zaiden on Instagram or
At Rowdy C10.
that's right. Lots of Instagram handles for Camburg and Jerry Zaiden. That was really, I didn't know what to expect going into it, but
He's a cool dude.
I think it turned out pretty good.
Cool
A
dude.
lot
Very
of similarities to what we do.
Very
Yeah.
cool business.
Yep.
Quality
Badass
oriented, into some cool shit. I think we need to get a whiskey in him, get him loosened up. We could get some stories about old Mexico. Yeah.
Just pull those
Round two.
Tijuana stories out of there.
Yeah, exactly. Before we go in this episode's final segment, we're going to break down some of our new favorite pieces of gear in everybody's favorite, the glove box. This In the Glove Box segment is brought to you by Stillhouse Spirits. Stillhouse has 6 different spirits in their portfolio: original whiskey, black bourbon, apple crisp whiskey, classic vodka, peach tea whiskey, and spiced cherry whiskey. Stillhouse products are made in the USA, and the cans they come in are 100% stainless steel, so they chill quickly. We've talked about this a little bit before, but not really in great detail. Stillhouse is a brand new sponsor. We'll taste it in a second. Branding,
Top notch.
Home run.
2 thumbs up.
Yep. They're at a 10. Branding's at a 10.
Yeah, it's got the right look.
Love the packaging.
Yeah.
I've
So-
always been attracted to it. I've been looking at it at the
Go
liquor
ahead,
stores.
keep talking.
Been looking at it at the liquor stores for years. Great looking stuff. And Josh, I believe, is going to select us.
Some taste testing.
So we've gotten into the black bourbon, the flavored ones. That's something that we got to put on ice at some point.
I don't think you drink that neat, do you? Do you have the little shot glasses?
Sure do.
Oh, look at you, prepared.
Yeah, this stuff is fantastic. Stainless steel. The original whiskey I tried, the peach tea I actually tried. I picked that up on my own, and that is that's a good little drinker there.
I can use some good mixed drinks with some of these.
Yeah.
Thinking the spiced cherry old fashioned, maybe.
Yeah, I made it. Believe it or not, I whipped up a little Manhattan with that spiced cherry. Yeah.
Well, here's the challenge. We're gonna try a few right now, right? Everybody got some homework. You've got to take one of the flavors back,
Create a cocktail.
create a cocktail.
Throw that out to the listeners too. Any ideas? What would you make?
Yeah, pick this stuff up. If you're in the Chicagoland area, I would strongly suggest that you swing by a Garfield's Liquors, our
All right.
homeboy, Mr. Dave, and grab some. But pick it up, whip up a cocktail.
All right,
See what you can do.
We're starting out with a little apple crisp.
Oh, you're going heavy.
You're spilling that everywhere.
I haven't spilled a fucking drop yet.
Oh, butter.
Oh. Dude, it's like an oil
Kiss of
can.
death.
Turn it on its side.
Yeah.
All right,
You could tell you like sports, not cars.
keep talking that way. Sounds like you like ass whoopings. All right, apple crisp. Let's-
Cheers, fellas. Are we
Try-
sipping this? Is this a shot?
No, this is a shot. Savor it and then swallow it. Ready?
Yeah.
Good shooter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great shooter.
Good
Yep.
shooter. All right, so that's the apple crisp.
The good thing about it, this is on camera too, so nobody made a cringe
yeah,
face. As far
horrible
as I know,
Nope.
You can't hide that.
All right, apple crisp. Next up's peach tea.
Who's driving home tonight?
We got Uber.
Uber.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Peach tea, I'm already familiar with, and I know it is. It's good. There you go. See how that works? Get a little air in the top of that.
Appreciate that.
Yeah. You're the guy that probably spills oil all over the fucking valve cover, aren't you? Just gong, 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 gong.
All right, peach tea. All right, I picked this one. I'm making a drink out of this.
Are you?
Out
Yep.
of the yeah.
I like the apple better. A little too peachy for me.
The peach hits hard, but I think if you cut that down,
I got a drink coming for that.
you cut that down with a little ice. I think you get a little carbonation in there. You know what's up?
Oh yeah. We got a good drink coming for that. That's flavorful. That peach tea's pretty damn good, actually.
That's too peachy for me. Straight.
All right, now spice cherry.
Hit it. What's the little handle deal on these?
It's a little handle.
Is that what it is?
Yeah, it's a little.
I think it's a
Oh, you hook it on.
hook it on.
Yeah.
Hook it on what?
I was thinking on your cup for like a floater or sidecar.
Maybe that's what it is.
Like that.
Yeah.
Thought it was just for like little bitty fingers.
A little sipper.
All right.
All right. So to Heath then.
to Heath, small hands.
With the tiny hands.
All right.
Yeah, that's money.
Damn, I wish I wouldn't have picked.
The cherry's where
I'm
it's at.
taking
man.
cherry. That's good.
Yeah. Cherry's where it's at.
Damn, that's really good.
And you hate cherry too.
Yeah, I know, but that's
I think all those are good for cocktails. It's not something that I'm going to sip. I'm certainly not. I'm not a shot guy, but
Well,
I think you can get creative. Either throw that on some ice and sip on it, or you can make some wicked cocktails out of that stuff.
you got original or apple crisp to pick from. Me and Phil have picked.
Oh, you guys have selected those.
We've selected
All
these.
right. So if you've selected those, then I'm hitting the apple crisp.
All right.
So that's what we're making cocktails.
We're gonna
of,
make
huh?
some cocktails of it.
You know I bring the heat.
I know
Cocktails.
you do. Each person we'll do a segment on one person's cocktail. We'll take a sip. We'll rank it just like we do our other whiskey reviews. And
I like
winner wins. Awesome. Oh man, that was
Can we call in a friend to get some help on this?
nope.
Well, if it's
Can I
happening,
not
if
tell
it's
you if I
happening
call
at
it a
home,
friend?
if it's happening at home, you do whatever the hell you want.
Drink Stillhouse Whiskey, the Unbreakable Spirit. Find Stillhouse Whiskey at a store near you by going to stillhouse.com and using the store locator. That's STILLHOUSE.com. What do we have in our pockets today, gentlemen, for the glove box?
Excited to actually get this done in studio and show off some of the cool shit that we got.
me too.
Yeah, no. What do you got?
Dude, check this out.
You
I gotta
going
go
first? You going first?
This is fucking awesome. And I brought this in just for Josh.
Those are
Oh, I think I know what this
Yeah.
is.
Those are Tic Tacs.
Where the
Get it
fuck
at
these-
Walmart?
Yeah, no, these
Chapstick?
pants. That's the problem with these tight pants. You can't get anything. Yeah.
You're only laughing because people can see that.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. All right.
Yeah, super cool.
Side note, I think that's a common thing. All the Instagram shit.
Instagram.
People flicking
That's all.
off.
Yeah.
What's that guy's name?
I don't remember. There's like 5 of them. Just random.
Yeah. So pocket dumping tonight.
Yeah, that hurts my feelings.
All right, you're gonna have to help me out with this, dude, because you hooked these up.
Ooh.
We got a banger tonight,
Dun.
and you got to listen to this. If I can hold on to it, bam. Little ProTech action,
Yeah, it's the Runt 5.
dude. That thing is so badass. It's got some heft to it.
A peek behind the curtain. You want to know? You want a little peek behind the curtain?
Yeah.
Let's see
Hold
it.
on. So I reached out. Good buddy, fan of the show.
I think I know where this is going.
Yeah. Well, it's going there.
We have good taste.
Well, yeah. So I reached out. Good friend of the show, Caleb at Mark's Knife Center. Said, hey, man, I saw you got some new Protex. We need to get some.
Hook it up.
Hook it up.
They quit.
We
fucking up
wanted
my knife,
to tell it. All right, I'll quit fucking. I'm going to sit it right there.
so everyone can see.
Yeah, everyone can see it. So, wanted to get John York, Hot Rod Shop manager. He came on as a special guest to come in when you were absent.
Yeah.
Did a great job. Take care of him. Get him a knife. I also saw that they had this awesome brass Runt 5. Had my eye on that for a while. I said, hey, go ahead and send us one of those. Send a few more knives, pick
Sure.
out a few. And they sent them. So I said, and being the good guy I am, we got all everything out. I said, hey, look, these are the knives we got. You guys pick what you want. First thing you did, oh, I like that one.
Mm-hmm.
This is the only one that I wanted.
We can
I
share
don't feel
it.
bad taking the other one then.
No, but
That's
It's a great size.
Do you ever hurt your shoulder or your wrist or your elbow, I guess, patting yourself on the back?
I'm not. How am I patting myself on the back saying I picked out a knife and he picked it?
It's a good knife.
No, I'm jealous because you took
It's
it.
cool. It's got that little button. What would you say that is?
Mother of pearl.
Mother of pearl.
Mother of pearl.
Yeah.
It's got a full-size knife action spring and a short knife.
Yeah.
Just so you know.
That sucker will get away from you.
You better grab hold of it.
Cool little knife. I got
Badass
some
color
other,
combo.
I got some other rad little pocket treats here tonight. So
Somebody came prepared.
I did. This is something new, gentlemen.
Chapstick.
Look at this guy. What's that look like?
That's a billet chapstick
That's
case.
a yo-yo.
Is it a yo-yo?
Looks like a yo-yo.
Yeah. Or a titanium tape measure. Look at that.
Whoa.
Get a look at that.
Where the fuck did you get that?
So I was searching for knives, and I stumble across that little guy.
Sure enough.
Speaking of little guy,
5
What do we
and
got?
7/8.
5 and an 8. And I stumble across this, gallantry.com. If you come across that website.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I've never seen
We
that
see that.
before.
Super cool. So, you know, when you're walking around the shop all day, you're always like, you're never prepared. You find like, you don't want to carry a 12-footer on your
Right. That's a good size.
waistband. And the 6-footer, I was on that kick for a while at that little Stanley 6-footer you get at Home Depot and you can clip it onto your belt hoop, but it's like just a little bit too big.
Right.
So this guy, you can drop it in your little
Prison
you know,
purse.
Put it wherever you want to put it.
Yeah.
put it in that pocket in your jeans that nothing else fits
Yes,
in.
whatever the hell that pocket is. My only gripe with it is that it came with instructions for this little, like, I don't know, it's like a number 4 countersunk Allen head.
Mm-hmm. To do what with?
So it comes with instructions because why on earth would they pre-assemble it with the key ring on it? They give you instructions with a little Allen wrench, and on those instructions to install the key ring, it says, be very careful because the Allen head will strip out.
What'd you do?
Strip the fucking Allen head out. Dude,
I was going to guess that was going to be like a snake in a can when you undo that thing.
No,
Just
so I
tape
laid
going everywhere.
into it, and then I'm like, you know what? End of the day, it is cool to just drop it in there because it's handy. You know, if you want to know what size, what's this? What size blade is this?
Yeah, it's a 2-inch.
All right. Fortunately, I have this 2-inch blade because you research these kind of things. But cool little
What's where'd that come from?
gallantry.com.
Gallantry.
Yeah. And a lot of cool stuff. A lot of cool EDC stuff.
You actually brought something
Yeah, I brought something
That was
cool to
good.
the table.
Maybe.
Other than that,
to keep you around.
We're going other pocket too.
Some bitch came prepared.
the money clip. Got
No-
a stack because I was
No $1,000 bill, no
no
$500
$1,000
bill.
bills, no black AMX cards. I'm not Richard Rawlings. But
That's a $100 bill wrapped around a shitload of singles.
no, I think see. I'm a little different. There might be a few hundos in there, but I wrap it with the 20
Because you're
And then a
common,
10.
You're a common man.
and then a 5. You know, and then some
And the
singles.
singles.
There's
Man
some-
of the people.
and then we got the dad wallet. So I'll tell you what: when you got the dad wallet on you, and you have this, now
Ooh, there we go.
we know.
Battle Royale, bitches.
Yes, sir. Battle of the dad wallets. Let's see. Should we go off the 1?
You need to go off the table.
Should we go off the 1 to get an accurate measurement?
Yeah, burn an inch.
Here we go. I got to give it a gentle compression. That's dead nuts at an inch.
1 inch.
Right there at the hips. Get it. I got you beat.
Yeah, you're going to have to lay a straight edge across that thing. That's got a wicked crown
Yeah,
to it.
I've got myself a.
Here, lay that
Here.
down. Put a phone
Here,
across
yeah,
it.
Yeah, lay that sucker down. Huh, it's
I'll
deceiving.
let you take that
Dude,
measurement.
it's deceiving.
I'll let you
Yeah.
take
All right, you hold the
Dude, we
phone.
all know Josh lies with measurements.
Oh,
He's
yeah,
rocking
you're 1 3/8 right there.
common measurement.
That sucker's convex, you know?
bring in the thickness.
Dude, I'm impressed with that. That's something.
Appreciate it.
You want to step up?
Scoliosis of the spine.
Yeah. You want to step up? But you've stepped down. You're scaling that thing.
I don't even know if you
I
can
can't
measure
even
that.
We
You
need
gotta get a caliper
Yeah, we
on
need
that.
a caliper. I'm not even
Look
going
at
to
that
try.
fucker. It's like a sheet of paper.
What else? But you have what? 3 cards in there?
I have 3 credit cards, ID, FOID card, insurance card. I still don't know how this works, but that's a credit card access to the new building. And a Home Depot gift card.
That's a child's. Well, my son, my 10-year-old son has more things in his wallet than you.
10-year-old son doesn't have back problems. I actually do have back problems.
I like that wallet. I'm going to find something along those lines. I want something way more cool and not near as not cool. But I'm going to find something. What do I have? I have an 1 3/8 thick.
You win the girth competition.
Dude, I can't believe that topped me. Honestly.
Basically, that's a phone book.
See if you can rip it in half.
That's a McMaster car catalog. Dude, how is... No, something's wrong.
Ooh.
Something's wrong.
He measured at the end.
I measured at the end, dude. I had the closed end. Look at this. Hold
Straight
on.
edge across
Hold on,
the
hold on.
top.
We need a level.
Oh, I would get you by a 16th.
I think Josh still wins.
You are.
By a 16th.
Yep.
All right, stand up. See who's got the bigger curvature of the spine.
I am today. What am I doing? Oh, little JHO.
Yep. Somebody wants to be cool.
I
this
like
guy.
that little guy.
I
Of course you do. Because it's a cool knife.
I started following the JHO knife guy after Jeremy talked about his. He dropped this. However, Jeremy doesn't have the all satin bead blasted.
No, I don't.
Like this is.
Let me see that thing.
Careful with it.
I will.
It'll cut you.
Here, these are gorgeous knives. I will say they're very cool. And I love a flipper.
Yeah.
I don't know how to operate a flipper.
Dude, you got to get them past like the fulcrum point, you know? You give them a little...
You get a
give them a little boost with the
pre-stage
thumb and then whack.
Yep.
And then you hit them. That's a good knife.
It's a great knife.
JHO's...
That's sharp.
Follow
Got it
JHO
going on.
Knives on Instagram. He
Dude,
does drops and you got to do it at nighttime.
I'm itching for that. He's got that little brass jobber.
Oh, I know.
And what? I'm sorry. I got to check this out.
My thing is I go out at night and I have my last cigarette of the evening before I go to bed, and I check Instagram and see the knife drops.
Dude,
and I got lucky that night, and he had dropped one. He dropped 10 knives, and I was like 4 minutes in, and I think I was the 8th knife.
I wish knife makers would just like go into production.
So what does he
and build
call
a
this?
bunch of them.
He calls it the number 22.
You'll never get
And
one of
it's
those.
got, that's what I want.
I know. That thing is awesome.
And it's got, the little brass fasteners. Yeah, he's got some cool stuff. What's going on today?
That's basically the fastest
He just
knife.
dropped some matte gray number 22s today without inlays. Oh,
Should have
sorry,
been
that was
on there
May
earlier.
1st. Those are gone.
Oh.
Long gone.
What else you got?
Cigarettes, keys. Oh, actually,
Dump the cigarettes out.
I actually got
Dude. Desk pop that thing.
we are
We are desks. Now that we are live, that we have a studio, we can
the
do
first
some
desk
desk pops.
I don't think people like fuck with like gunplay.
No? All right.
So
Yeah,
it's,
we don't either.
It's the
Yeah, since it's a video, don't you have to cock it, show that it's empty? I feel like
Yeah,
that's
it's-
required for the comment
I
section.
just checked it. It's empty. It's fully cleared.
You can't do that before the video. It has to be during live video.
During the video, everybody can see. Yeah, look, little clear. Glock 43X, little special edition, little shiny, little engine turn barrel.
I like the engine
Got a
turn.
lot of
I've
cool
been
shit on it.
Been carrying this for quite some time. It's a great size. Running the little shield arms mags, so you get standard Glock when you buy a Glock 43X, 10 rounds only, single stack. Do the shield arms, it's double stack. Get 15 rounds. This little baby, 15 rounds. They actually do a +5 extension, so I've got another for a backup. You get 20 rounds. So 35 rounds plus one in the chamber. You can get 36 rounds walking around in 9mm in this little small.
That's quite a
thin
little
guy.
unit.
It's a nice unit. I like it. It's got just a little bit of extra special.
You weren't expecting that when you went in to buy it, right?
No, I went to buy a regular one, and that's all they had. They had this one, or they had the Tiffany blue, and I was like, well, damn, I got to have that one, but that one's too nice to carry, but ended up doing it. And yeah, so
Cool little gun.
got to get you guys on those 365s and start carrying those.
Got a 365 XL.
I know you got to start carrying. You got to get comfortable with it.
I got the concealed carry. I just, it's a struggle every day.
I know you got to train yourself to do it.
Yeah.
Way back in the day, I couldn't stand carrying a knife. Now I feel naked without one. Just
Yeah.
having that something in your pocket.
You
So
just got to push through it and get to it. Next up, that is done for In the Pocket. What
skipped-
are we drinking?
I understand why you would want to skip me on that.
I don't think you brought anything.
So everybody did their pocket stuff, right?
Yeah.
Phil's got another Leatherman pocket tool
Just
tonight. Oh, here we go.
there's that guy right there.
Yippee.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I'm just waiting for my commission from Benchmade because so far, was it two?
You're
Yes.
just
Two
as
people
cool
have-
as 5 other people in the shop that have bought that.
It's a fucking bad. Do either of you have this knife?
No.
Does anybody have a JHO? Not one person. Just 5 other people have
Sorry,
the
who-
shootout
How many
I think
people have this?
Just
he's
you.
got one.
and me.
Yeah.
That's 2 people.
I packed this special because I wanted to get it on camera today to
me
show
see that.
something that you guys don't have. Benchmade shootout.
So for the listeners at home, who brought
Listen to this downplay. This is
Yeah,
a
I'm honestly.
It's hard to
stellar downplay.
It's hard to downplay.
Who
that.
brought this to the table?
Phil did.
I did. This is
No,
the
you-
table I brought it. So technically, I brought it to the table.
This was in
Josh
episode
may or may
3
not
or 4.
have found it because
I
he
talked about
is
the
an
new-
Instagram whore and found it.
the
and
new
said, "Oh, they're
Benchmade
coming out with
shootout
this."
knife, and
I actually remember that. Now that
That's
you bring it up.
sharp.
Yeah.
You're gonna cut yourself again.
it is fucking sharp. This is a great knife. It's super light.
I don't even have to do a pocket
You
knife. I
know-
just let you talk about it.
You know who was pissed?
Mike O'Brien,
Mike O'Brien. You know why?
because somebody else had it before him.
Yep.
And it
This
wasn't
has been
me.
quite the talk around the shop this week.
Well, tell us about your little knife there, Philip.
This is the Benchmade shootout. It's an OTF. It is an awesome action. FDE blade button. They're DLC. I'm gonna butcher this, but Josh is the expert on knowing things. So
Yep. FDE blade. Tonto. Yep.
DLC.
Sure.
Bullshit. You
I
know
don't
this
know.
by
I
heart.
swear I don't know this one.
Super lightweight, awesome texture on the handle, a little bit more aggressive on the thumb here where you hold it, and just a badass fucking knife.
gonna see that
It's
fucker.
super light. I wish it could stand.
It could
just
take a little bit of weight.
Yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
A little bit more. It almost, I hate to say it.
I know what you're gonna
It
say.
feels almost a hair cheap, but
It-
then after you carry it, you're like, fuck, this thing's awesome.
Dude, I'm going to say it. I'm just going to say it. Phil's in the number 1 spot right now.
Ooh.
He is.
Oh, really?
Yeah. This is
This is a solid table here.
I'm
of
telling you.
knives.
Yeah, I'm telling you what. This is a carry. This thing is rad. I've been a Microtech OTF guy. No disrespect against Microtech, but the way this knife feels, I've never liked the Benchmade OTFs because I always felt they were like sloppy.
Yeah, they move
You know?
around a lot.
This thing has got the action.
It's super easy to push the button and
Yeah.
fires right out. Yeah.
Well, but last week, everybody's got a guy. My knife guy, Caleb.
You got
he
a knife guy?
He texted me. He's like, "Hey, do you want one of those shootouts?" I said, "I did. I don't want one anymore." You know what? You can keep it.
It is. That's the number 1
You
spot.
got it. You're just not bringing it to work.
That's
Correct.
it.
It's
It's a good knife.
so that's the number 1 spot. That's what to beat.
I feel
think so.
honored.
in my eyes right now. I like everything about that. I like the hand feel.
They nailed it.
I like the weight. I love the action. I love the thumb feel of that. What do you call that? A trigger?
Wonder
Is that
what
what you
it'll
call
do
it?
chunked into Route 83 out front into traffic. What else?
I guess I'd
Super thin
pair
wallet.
that super thin wallet,
Yep.
iPhone, a little bit of cash, and that's about it.
Another glorious pocket dump for the guys. So Phil's
I
winning.
feel like
huh?
I don't need to
I'm gonna
bring
have
a
to
lot
bring it.
when
I
you
think
have
Phil's,
the
I
knife
think
game
Phil's
up.
winning the knife department. We've brought some cool stuff, but honestly, that's
Yeah, it's fine.
probably my favorite.
So the bar's
so
been
far.
set.
Yeah, the little artisan, low production run ones are very cool.
Yep.
But that thing, that's just when you want to carry. That's when you want in your pocket.
Moving on. Phil wins. Moving on. What are we drinking? Phil, this is your pick for the night, so why don't you tell us about it?
This is my pick. It was my brother's purchase. Milliman Green. I think one that all three of us have seen on the shelves for a month or so and bounce back and forth on buy it, don't buy it.
It's mysterious.
It is.
Serious, a little bit pricey-er. Not out of line, but what was it, like 60, 70 bucks?
I think you're up there. Somebody's got to Google this, but I think you're in the like 80-ish price range on that, if I'm correct.
Really?
You want to check that out, Josh?
I'll check it out right now.
So that's the good part about having a podcast, and you can...
You can just say things. You can just fucking say whatever you want to say.
I was going to say...
It's like,
I was going to say you can buy it, and then you can justify the purchase that you need to have something new and try something new, but...
Oh, you're trying to call a little...
and I know they've got a few of these.
little expense, huh?
So this is, Josh,
Right
just
off.
This
as
is the
you're
white-
Googling, that's their single barrel,
Yep.
86 proof. Where is that distilled? I see a TX on the side of that.
Is it a Texas bourbon?
Might be.
It's got a price point of $55.
Yeah, I was right.
That was right.
60-ish
They got a
bucks.
few of those. Maybe I'm
No,
Bottled
I think
from one
the white-
53-gallon cask. There are no more than 280 bottles of this fine bourbon in the world. And we just killed it, so there are now 279 bottles in the world.
The why does it have a price on it?
From the Founders Reserve,
The
M&G.
triple cask is the dark
Yeah.
one. That one's $48. But the white label single barrel is $55. There is some on secondary that is up to $135. Honestly, it looks like it's all over the place.
Bottled in Tennessee,
It's a Texas bourbon, I thought.
Blanco Spirit. Yeah. Bottled by Provision Spirits, Blanco, Texas. I don't know if that means anything,
Well,
but as we discussed earlier, it
hand me
has a
that
fancy
RS pen
medallion
that you've got
hanging
over
off.
there, so I can.
Oh, yeah, I got that in my pocket.
I've got to.
You got to jot this down.
I've got to track the reviews. I don't have the spreadsheet in here. I apologize, but this is the Milam and Green.
The simple review is that I'm filing that under the buy it's.
I concur.
Yeah.
Especially since there's only 279 bottles left.
Yeah, if you're building the liquor collection, you're building the bourbon collection, that's one to have. 86 proof. It drinks, like, I think, hotter than an 86 proof.
A little chest burn
Yeah.
initially.
I'm with you there.
Yeah. But I've got nothing negative about it. It's good. And
like
I honestly, my review's a little better knowing that the price point was a little bit lower than what I thought it was because it's solid. It's super smooth. I think when you see that light color, you usually know they are kind of smooth, easy drinkers for the most part.
I know y'all are going to give me shit about this, and
Hit
probably
it.
people
Yeah,
listening
Josh
to
is
it.
going to throw some fruity ass review
No,
out here.
this is very similar to a Blanton's in drinkability.
Yeah, I could see that.
It is.
Yeah.
I can give you a hard time about that.
I think
Yeah.
you're right, dude. You hit that. It's Bland's has got a little bit of heat to it.
Yep.
But it's always a little bit hotter than you would think it is.
Yeah.
But it's good.
But it's smooth, and you. Yeah, it's the right. It's not a Weller,
No.
but
No, I think this is solid.
you're giving it a buy it. But what's your number? 1 to 10. Everybody knows the rules.
I'm giving it a buy it, and I'm putting that right at a 7.0.
That's where I was going to go as well. Buy it at a 7.
7-0. Phil 7-0.
And this is I did a little shopping at our homeboy old Dave Garfield's, and that is another Garfield's pick.
Josh is giving it a buy it at a 7-0.
Across the board.
7.0 for Milam and Green single barrel. If you see that, pick it up. All right, before we go, we wanted to let you know that we have a very special in the glove box. Jack Carr, former Navy SEAL, best-selling author of The Terminal List. All right, he sent us this Pelican case.
Josh's hands are shaking.
We haven't
he's
opened
nervous.
it.
He's
I'm super
sweating and he's
fucking
shaking.
nervous. I'm super fucking nervous. There's a bunch of cool stuff in here. Supposedly, we haven't opened it yet. I just opened the box right now. He's got a brand new book series releasing In the Blood. I've been waiting for this book probably about 9-10 months since I finished the last one. We'll get into the book thing here in just a second, right? But
It's not going to go well for you.
this book, the new book, In the Blood, drops May 17th. He also hosts the podcast Danger Close, another Ironclad original series, which is the only reason probably we got this, because let's face it, like,
Got
Jack-
some connections.
yeah, Jack Carr wouldn't have sent it to us unless it was
Are you
for Ironclad.
serious?
Ironclad probably
Does
hooked
he
us
know
up a
you
little.
read all of his
Dude, I
books?
thought he was just a fan. No.
I don't think Jack Carr knows who we
Damn
are.
it.
But I will say, Jack sent us something very special. We're sending Jack something very special.
What are we sending him?
I think you know what we're sending him.
Is that a secret?
No, you can tell. I mean, you're gonna like be carpooling with me because we're sending something.
We're
sending him your car.
We're sending him my car, my truck.
The Terminal List tells the story of former Navy SEAL James Reese, who embarks on a mission to avenge the death of members of his platoon, while also uncovering a series of international conspiracies. The Terminal List is being adapted to a TV series starring Chris Pratt, which will debut July 1st on Amazon Prime Video. All right, let's check out the box. First of all,
I don't even care what's in it, dude.
Dude,
The box
Chris-
is awesome.
Chris,
I'm a box guy. I like boxes.
Chris Pratt.
Yeah.
Good actor.
Oh,
I have never heard somebody talk about a book series or anything as
Like
passionately as you
Well,
have.
Yeah,
We're
John,
so
let's let
I am
the
not a book
listeners-
fan, but I can't wait to watch it.
The listeners need to know Josh
people
is
give
a
me shit about reading.
huge fan. So I'm assuming
I'm a
it's
big fan.
really good.
I'm gonna get you guys on the audiobooks, right? You're gonna have to catch up to where we're at right now.
Sure.
You know this is a big thing. I mean, me and Zach were talking about it the other day when we were headed to
you
your
and
birthday.
Zach, Sean was
It-
geeking out. Zach is reading all these books. He's going
Right.
crazy over. Loves them.
All right. This is real deal. I've never opened this. We don't know what's in here.
What we got?
Oh. First of all, that's a challenge coin.
Is that- I thought that was a Pog Stomper.
It's
No?
not.
That's not a Stomper.
You got some fucking badass
Dude,
damn
that's cool.
stickers.
I can't see over here.
All right.
Here you go, Phil.
Apologize. Here.
Let you get a piece of that action.
Open the see what's on the envelope. I'll be honest, I don't care what else is in there. This right here means more than anything. You don't realize
pre-release?
you don't this is pre-release. Nobody has these. Doesn't exist in the wild at all. Oh shit, it's even autographed. Oh, I might faint.
I think.
I saw some cool shit on Ironclad's Instagram.
To the Roadster Shop, I love everything you have in the works. Keep crushing it. Strength and honor. From Jack Carr.
That's cool.
It's pretty solid.
That's really solid. First of all,
I
he
know-
leaves
I
you
know
on
where
such a
that's going.
cliffhanger. Well, you can't pry this out of my
No, I
fucking
know,
hands
yeah.
for nothing.
You would give up your firstborn.
Oh yeah,
Maddox. You
I'd
would give up Maddox.
I'd
before
give up
maybe
both
maybe
born.
Blaze.
I'd give up both.
So, we have this beautiful wax stamp.
Hey, whoever's doing, Jack knows his shit.
He does.
Look at that. Did you
That's
check
legit.
that out?
What have
Yeah.
we here? Shall I read this?
Yeah, it's a cool thing he wrote. I hope Ironclad's watching this right now and realizing, first of all, that's how you make a fucking statement, right?
Oh, hell yeah, it is.
Do you
That's
not-
coming home with me. You get the book, I'm taking the case.
Do you not think that guests on oil and whiskey should get something cool like this?
We're working on that, and I think they should.
You've got to listen to the book before the series comes
I'm
out.
going to.
But
Absolutely going to.
In the Blood finds James Reese behind the glass once again in a sniper-centric novel of violent resolutions. If you're picking up a James Reese novel for the first time, I'd encourage you to go back to the beginning. In the Blood will be a much richer reading experience if you start the journey with the Reese on a mountain in Afghanistan. That's where I started the journey. His life is about to take a violent turn. Writing my debut novel, The Terminalist, was much more personal experience than I had anticipated at the outset as I tapped into real-world military operations and had applied the emotions associated to those events in fictional narrative. The memory of an actual incident triggered the idea for my second novel, True Believer. And just like The Terminalist, if you read between the lines, you'll glean whispers of the truth. The third book in the series, Savage Son, explores the dark side of man, incorporating much of what I experienced as both the hunter and the hunted in Iraq and Afghanistan. In James Reese's fourth mission, The Devil's Hand, I looked at the United States through the eyes of the enemy, an enemy who has been watching us on the field of battle for the past 2 decades, learning, adapting, and incorporating those lessons into their battle plans. We all come to crossroads in life. In the Blood finds James Reese at that point. It's time to make a decision. Will he be able to leave the killing behind and start anew, or is warfare and killing in his blood? Thanks for joining me on this journey. Onward. Strength and honor, Jack Carr. Thanks again for everybody listening to Oil and Whiskey with the Roadster Shop and Ironclad Original. If you like the show, be sure to leave us a rating or review. Thanks again to our guest, Jerry Zaiden. Remember, you can follow us on Instagram at Roadster Shop. We'll see you again next week.